This podcast contains adults using adult language. You have been warned.
Looking back on the past where we still had a chance, we were pawns in a game that we could not win.
Oh, we got the thumbs up. We have the thumbs up. We can go live. Hey, everybody. We finally made it. It's only 10 minutes late, but it's fine because it's Sunday and it is the season premiere for season 2 of Team X.
Wait.
Hold on.
Technically, we're only 10 minutes late here.
Somewhere we're not.
On time-ish because we were on... Where is he? Oh, I have to skip over Gideon. Wait, is he this way or this way? He's that way? Yeah,
Some
that
way.
way.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about this.
We were on his channel.
Yeah, we were on time.
Somewhere
on
else.
the wrong channel.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but hey,
Now
everybody.
you can continue.
Yeah, welcome. We're so glad to have everyone here. I am St. Brian, your dungeon master for today's game. Let us, before we go through and give you a quick recap of season 1 and jump right into today's game, let's go through the characters real quick. I know we have a different little layout here, so we will start on the left and work our way to the right. Who's first?
Or we screen left?
Given
or
that
your
our
left?
directions are mirrored here in the actual stream,
On the stream. Okay,
why
that's
did you just say Drenmai?
I don't know. Yeah. Because... New layout. Who dis?
New layout.
Yeah, new layout. Who dis?
Who dis? You been knew that we had a new layout.
So I went. I can't see it because the ads run up. But hey, Rent's gonna play soon. So let's start. Let's start with Mistress Clues.
Let's see. We are level 5, right? Like I didn't change that.
No, we're level 5. Don't
Yes.
take that away from me.
Don't take that away from me. I will be playing your friendly Tinker Gnome. And my name is Dren, my Gem Weaver, and I've got a new spell, and y'all are gonna hate it.
Oh wait, is it Sparkle Fart?
Yeah.
I knew about that one.
Oh yes,
It is. It is written, and so
And
shall it be.
yeah. So it is written.
Pixie Shark.
We'll be submitting it to Unearthed Arcana very shortly.
Exactly.
No, we won't. No.
Yes. Sparkle
You
Fart.
fucker. No.
Listen, hate me, love me. Just don't ignore me.
Yeah. Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, in this case, yes. When it comes to Sparkle Fart, yes. Any case, next up would be, I believe, the Blind Cleric.
Yes, it is. I am the Blind Cleric. I am playing Human Fighter level 5, Hugon Valander. And it's gonna be bad. There's gonna be some ruined Christmases. There's gonna be some unfortunate there's going to be a rash of like serial killer style deaths in the monster community, and that's primarily going to be his fault. Primarily.
If there is a CSI investigation, there would be a giant sign that Hugon would leave there saying, "I did this."
Yeah, like it's just and like he'll like show the people this card, like this is me. It's me, and like just put it down. Like,
go on, find me.
Bring it. No. This is private contract.
This is no. I did that one for free.
That one was gratis.
And our third player is none other than the Viking Goat. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't help you because I don't know. Come on, man. It's only been a month. Figure your shit out.
Check your DMs on Twitter. That's where I sent you guys all your specials. So actually, that's a good segue while we're talking about that. This season, we've added a new mechanic. It is going to be the specials that the characters can do. Now, the way that this is going to work for all of you folks, and I'm gonna preface this by saying I have absolutely cribbed this off of DM Irish. She gave me this idea, and I'm adapting it for our game here. So, DM Irish, thank you very much.
Yes.
She is available for commissions right now. Her car was broken into the other week, and she's taking commissions to try to pay for a new back window. So check out DM Irish on the tweet source and help out a fellow D&D player and an awesome person and artist. But anyways, the way this is going to work is that 3 times at every session we play, the characters will have 3 times that they can do their specials. However, there are consequences for the specials. The consequence is every time they use it, I get a D6 that I get to use at my discretion to help aid one of the DM roles at some point during the game. Everything resets. I'm not going to bank them. No, I'm not going to bank them.
I like how you said that and you're like, wait, that's a really good idea.
Hang on.
I should do that. But I just said that I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
Oh.
But I make the rules. So, yeah, so there you go. So that's how we're going to be taking care of that. And I'm sure there will be ample opportunity for them to use and abuse these specials in all sorts of ways that I never intended or thought about, but such as the game of Dungeons and Dragons. So a really quick synopsis of the first season for folks who might be joining us for the first time. I certainly hope that there are some folks that are joining us for the very first time. It would be great to have you here.
Stop that.
So
No random scene. Oh my God, we should do a musical.
No.
No, you gotta wait till at least you gotta be at least season 3 before you do the musical episode. It's,
Rebuke. I will find some sort of religious text. I will wave it in front of this camera and say rebuke.
This is the only religious text I need. Anywho,
on the topic, by the way, of first streams and goofing up, I've been muted this entire time. You guys have not, just me.
Well,
Oh,
that's
welcome
okay.
back.
That's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not like anything that you say is important.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not contesting that.
One day, guys, we've only been doing this for about a year. One day we will get this right. So anyways,
No, we won't.
all right, so 8 minutes into our stream, we are now going to talk about what happened in Season 1. Season 1, Dren my Gemweaver, Hugon Valander, and Thunuk Gentletrunk were all accepted as partners in the franchise and new franchise owners of Acquisitions Incorporated's contract for the Chandlewood region of Faerun, and they were dubbed very officially, by the way, by Omen Dran, a.k.a. Jerry Jerry Horcrims of Penny Arcade. They were dubbed Team Xenagog, where they have exclusive rights to the Chandlewood region. Upon arriving there, they realized that there's some issues because the watch that generally escorts people through the forest to Pinedale, which is where they're based, had gone missing. No one's seen them for several weeks now. Things are very mysterious. They did find evidence of gnolls. They found one guy pinned very high up in a tree. They found a shack full of spiders and opted not to go in.
I don't even think we found it. I think they just told us about that, and each one of us was like, "Fuck that."
No, we're not going in there.
We're not doing it.
Except Philip really wants to go in there because,
he's a
yummy
of some kind, and he eats.
Well, they're kind of like they're like
land crab. They're terrestrial crabs.
Yeah, land crab legs.
You put them on a spit and you fry them.
Imagine
you
crab.
The horrific screaming as the water is boiled inside of them, and it's just
Imagine crabs with a slight truffly aftertaste.
So And upon arriving in Pinedale, they were approached by some kind of strange entity. They had received some strange visions of a potential future of Pinedale. They had been entreated by a strange entity to try to avert said potential future outcomes. They became heroes when during major.
Hey, heroes is a strong word.
It gets thrown around a lot.
Interested parties. Okay.
When a Meanlock attack took some visitors from town down into their little hive, and they went down there and got rid of them in various and sundry ways. Let's see. Hugon made friends with a little girl named Tadell Swift, who is now his kind of erstwhile protege. Thunux started the Potato Scouts.
He did.
And another party that was possibly acting against them had shown up in town. And they determined that two of the members of that party were actually there, not of their own will. That the one had Laura Alyssa Fiedlerson had part of her soul trapped by one of these other evil folks. And Drenmai was able to free that part of her soul through an arcane ritual that essentially made them that gave Dren and Laura Alyssa some kind of bond where they have a general idea of where each other are. But it also might have had some consequences on Dren herself. Because now her
is kind of a lie. It
now
had consequences.
Now her lantern is showing some effects of shadow creep of some kind, and it was determined that there might be a monastery far to the north that could actually potentially help Dren with her current issue. And we had ended season 1 with them stepping through the Shadow Gate in their headquarters in the basement of the Silvered Harrier, to make the journey north, which would normally take months. Basically, it's a Stargate in their basement. So,
which is cool. Like, it makes
handy.
shipping time pretty minimal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it depends on where the gate is.
We don't know where it lets out. We just know it's in the area.
We know it's in the area. There's a shadow gate. You can use it. Yeah, okay. Oh, also we have a map of shadow gates?
Yeah, that is true. Yes. So Dren had picked the pocket of one of the members, the one that Thunux was trying to cure his raspy voice. And Drenmai had picked that guy's pocket and had a map. And the map shows, it looks like locations of various shadow gates in this network and how they might potentially get to them. And we forgot the part where Dren tried the automaton delivered by Acquisitions Incorporated to help them with doing research. So that is where we find ourselves. The Team X having stepped into this shimmering portal to be transported transported, hopefully, to their intended destination. So what is, just out of curiosity, what is the marching order?
I believe
Did I
Thunux would
jump
usually
in
go
first?
last.
I think I probably jumped in.
You
first.
probably jumped in first as Hugon was trying to get in first.
Because
And
shiny.
You do that little
It's me.
that little gnomish skitter thing that small people do.
I'm small, so I fit.
Like it's some kind of creepy spider gnome thing. Like, and you went like
Spider gnome, spider gnome.
like on all fours on the ground, so that you can like
my
dodge.
Spider Verse, like alter ego.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay?
Thank you.
That's our stream, folks. That's it.
Yeah, we're
That's
done.
our
This is We've
I need to
Peaked.
go find a new artist because
From this point on, it's all Spider Verse. That's all we are. Spider Verse Thunux is
No, we're not
just
doing that.
large.
Everything is
We're not gonna bring that
Spider-Verse.
We're not going to bring that down to our level. That deserves praise
That's
and
yeah,
adulation
that's
and
true.
awards, and we don't. So, Hugon is in after Dren.
Okay.
and then
And then that
And it's usually like,
yeah.
you little fucker. And
yeah,
And then we had the twins, Quohand and Laura Alyssa Fiedlerson. They were going to be traveling with you because that was part of the
Oh yeah.
because that's the whole, hey, we're kind of soul bound now, and you kind of need to
This
figure
is a
this whole
problem.
thing out. And then Thunuk, you'd be going in last.
Yes, precisely. I just had this image of Andre the Giant knocking the door down, and then going,
One of the great scenes.
Mhm.
So as you all enter into the Shadow Gate, as you're passing through that event horizon where it's happening, it feels very much like walking through ice cold water. Not to the point where it's like chilling you to the bone, where you jump into ice cold water and it's just absolutely freezing. You immediately, like, your heart leaps into your throat, and this is more just it's stepping through, I guess, rather a nice cool pond on a warm summer's day. So a little bit of a shock, but it washes over you as you feel yourself kind of being pulled forward. Uh, uh, Maybe not all at once. It almost feels like you're a bit stretched as it happens, but you feel yourself kind of being pulled forward while not moving anywhere. It's a very odd feeling. So Hugon goes to move in. Drenmai quick skitters through and jumps, and just I in my head now I'm thinking there's kind of like a yeah as she
And it
jumps
is
through.
stretched to the infinite. Just wow. And then
I think
snaps back
is she frozen?
a little bit.
Oh no.
It's okay.
It's it only took us 20 minutes, folks, and we broke clues.
"Oh no!"
So
We'll be all right.
that's okay. We'll be okay. So so you start going through Thunuk. As you go through, you feel the cold over the tip of your nose and wash over you. And right as you step and clear the event horizon, you find yourself in
Oh, yeah, she's definitely gone. Give me a few moments.
okay.
I need to move some stuff around.
Yay, internet.
So does the new format still fuck up when clues drops?
Everything's gonna screw up regardless. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no chat system out there, video conferencing, that would allow you to
Hey,
grab
this is
an
so
input.
on brand.
Well, while
Oddly
we're
enough,
waiting-
though,
While we're waiting for any of the folks who are watching this at home right now, or might be watching this on podcast or YouTube later, thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube so you can get all the videos that EatDrinkRoll produces. And we are now on Patreon.
Yes,
So
we
if you like what it is that we do, we have a tier on there for as little as $1 a month. So if there's if you like what it is that we do, we love it and appreciate it so much if you would help support us in that way, so we can continue to do this thing, so we can keep the lights on, we can pay for the Zoom service, we can pay for all the different little things. None of us are trying to get rich off of this. We're but we'd absolutely love it if you would support us in that way. And the other thing you could do to really support us is to tell a friend and have them watch some of our videos.
Yes.
The schedule is available on our Twitch channel. I'm getting a message here. Oh, that's just you. Okay, I don't mean it that way.
Okay.
It's just the Viking goat. So, why don't we continue playing?
Mm-hmm.
So, Thunuk, as you walk through it, as soon as you clear the event horizon, you find yourself in a forest glade in front of a deep blue pool of water. And you find yourself sitting there, and you're sitting like on a rock on the edge of this pool, and your feet are dangling, your toes are dangling in the water. Very, you can hear, like, you could feel the sun on your skin, and breeze blows through, and you would guess that it was probably summertime at some point. That's kind of how you'd feel, but it does feel a little otherworldly. It does not feel like the forest, it does not feel like the childhood that you grew up in. It feels almost nicer. not not that the Chandlerwood is a slum by any stretch of the imagination as far as
Less
forests go.
hostile.
Um,
Less intent on murder.
yes. And as you're sitting there, you find sitting next to you an enormous otter
Oh,
that's approximately the size of a small bear.
oh, that's a very large otter.
Mm-hmm. And he's
Uh,
kind of just hanging out with you at the side of the pool there, curled up on a rock.
And to be clear, we don't see the otter.
Oh
We're
no,
not-
this is
this is just him.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I was gonna be like, can I pet the otter? But I'm not there, so I can't. And
the one thing that would make Hugon happy is
I'm a
petting an
little
otter.
sad. I'm a little sad.
Note to self: Hugon loves otters.
quickest
Be
way
more
to his
fair.
heart.
Blind cleric likes otters.
Man, yeah. Don't actual human beings, people love otters?
I don't know.
I use that as a test as well as how a dog reacts to people, whether or not you are a trustworthy person.
If you don't like otters, there's a problem.
Yeah, pretty much. Thonik has never seen an otter this big. He's just astounded. He's gonna look at it and say, "Hi."
And the otter looks up and says, "Where'd it go?"
I thought I was going through a door, but this is not a door.
No, this is part way.
Oh. Where's everyone else?
Not here.
Oh, we have clues back. Give me one moment.
Uno momento.
Uno momento.
Sorry.
All right. We were just saying that it's very, very on brand.
Yes, 100%.
Very on brand.
Gotta stay on brand.
There we go.
Also, it reminded me that I forgot to actually eat lunch, so I brought it up with me.
Oh, that's smart.
That's wise. That's wise. Food is good.
Food is good.
I ate a lot of food.
Thonik is having a nice little conversation with an otter the size of a small bear.
Sweet.
Not like a bear cub, but a fully grown bear that is happening.
Yeah, but not like a grizzly. More like
Yeah. Like a black bear.
Like a black bear.
Like a
yeah.
black bear. Okay.
Like a person-sized otter,
Mm-hmm.
A sun bear.
but more fluffy.
Where were we? He said that they said that.
The otter says, "Oh, they're not here, but where are you going?"
I think I'm going somewhere north and cold. But I don't remember
I don't
what the
like
name
cold.
was. That's not really nice. Unless
Are you
have
coming
something
back?
hot. Yes,
Soon?
I think so.
Hope so.
Oh, I'm being rude. I'm Thonik.
I'm Otter.
Hi, Otter.
He says, "We know you."
You do?
Yeah.
How? I don't think we met before.
Mm,
You're the first otter I've ever met that was.
you
Not-
know,
That's
the
bad.
sparkle things you do.
Yes, sparkle things. Yes? Thonik does not know.
No,
He's
no,
just like-
he did not know.
He's like, if I say no, I'm
Thonik
not-
did not know what the otter was talking about.
it will mean that he
That's when
does
you
not
say
remember.
Yes.
It'll mean he does not remember ever meeting this otter. He's being rude. He just should lie and pretend that yes.
Lie in the way that a child would lie.
Yes.
The otter says, "That's us. We help you make the sparkle stuff.
Sparkle stuff.
When you,
Oh, when I make fire and heal people?
yeah,
You help me with that.
yeah."
Wow. It's really nice to meet you. Thank you.
And he
Wait,
says,
so when he does the healing, it's sparkly?
He's speaking in not well, I guess metaphor.
Well, also, like an
Okay.
otter's conception of what magic is probably pretty bad. Like it makes a light that is both like a firefly but not like a firefly.
So sparkly things.
So it is a sparkle.
Cool.
And so roll a perception check.
All right, give me one moment.
Yes.
Perception is
Perception.
+4. Oh my god. Don't you throw all of these out? 6?
The otter is made of teeth. No, wait, I'm not DMing. Never mind. I'm sorry. I got excited.
Would that actually deter Thunuk though, or excite him?
No, he probably just hug it more carefully.
Probably.
He'd be like, ow.
He would find this toothy otter even more perplexing because this is not how otters are made.
Otters are not made of teeth.
Why are you composed entirely of bone and sinew? What's going on here?
So the otter like perks up, like does that thing, and it's got the little tiny ears, and it looks like they prick up just like a little bit,
Mhm.
and it kind of looks and it says, "Gotta go. Are you sure you know how to get home?"
I know I have to walk south if I can't find another door.
Hang on. And he slips into the water as otters do, like barely a ripple. Just and you see him dive into this clear blue pool and kind of disappear into one of the little nooks in the side.
Mhm.
And he comes up and he's bobbing in the water, and he's got this stick in his hands, and you can see he's kind of like handing it to you.
Thunuk will reach out and take it.
Yes, and it's a piece of it's green wood.
Mhm.
It's surprisingly dry, having just been in a pool of water. And the otter says, "This will help you get home. But make sure you're fast home, okay?
Okay.
Don't be away too long."
Would it be bad if I'm gone too long?
Wouldn't be good.
Oh. You can come with me if you like.
I have to stay.
Oh.
I got to stay here.
Okay.
But we'll see you soon?
Yes.
Okay. We'll still help. We can help from here.
Thank you. I'm not sure. I didn't know you. Wasn't sure that. I'm going to have to keep that in mind as a possible problem in the future. Is distance a problem?
No.
Oh,
Not
okay.
normally.
Okay, good. That was very concerning, sir. Suddenly, okay.
Okay. Well, you should go now. And he jumps up out of the water and gets behind you and shoves you into the pool of water. And as soon as you hit the pool of water, you come stumbling out of onto this snowy, clearing in what looks to be the mountains. And for the rest of you, as soon as you entered the gate, you felt that cool feeling of entering and the pulling, and then you like almost immediately emerge through the event horizon on the other side. The travel is almost instantaneous, and the three of you and the Fiedlersons all exit. You enter and boom, there's like almost no pause. Thunuk comes out right behind you. There's no indication that he was like in there any longer than the rest of you, but you all emerge onto this. It's a snowy clearing and you can tell you're in the mountains. It is a slate gray sky, and it's cold. I mean, the wind. You guys were all kind of bundled up, ready to go anyway. I mean, you knew you were going into the colder climates. But I mean, immediately, like the stinging, your eyes sting from the.
I just remembered that Hugon has a direwolf cloak that he found mislabeled in the discount rack.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
He's just like, ha 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 ha. Fuck you. I have a cloak.
Being an intriguist is excellence.
He's like, yeah.
Which
Who else
actually,
can I swindle?
it's actually another nice little aside here for when you are engaging in your job duties. So for Thunic, that is going to be as cartographer. For Hugon, it is the intriguist, which is basically a scrounger, trying to find supplies and information. And for Dren is hordes person. So it's retrieving or counting or anything to do with the treasures found.
Hoarding.
Hoarding. If you're relating
Being a
it
little tiny
directly,
kleptomaniac, yeah.
if it's related directly to you doing your job, I think their advantage will be conferred in those cases. But you have to give a good narrative reason why it ties directly to your job. Why? So, yes. But back to the story at hand. So, and it is snowing. The wind is whipping all the snow around. It is hard to see. Your eyes and your nose are immediately starting to sting from the biting wind that is blowing quite heavily. At least comparatively to what you're used to normal winters. This is, you're in the high mountains now. But you can see that there is, from this clearing, the gate is right behind you. And then you can see that there is a pathway that kind of leads, it looks like it leads right along the edge of the mountain, but then drops off after about 50 feet where there's it doesn't look like, it looks virtually impassable. To use a descriptor, if you think of Fellowship of the Ring when they're traveling in the mountains, that's kind of like how this pathway looks. So and again, everyone give me a perception roll.
I accidentally just closed my character sheet, so I apologize.
Hugon winks out of existence.
Fuck again? No.
Why does this keep happening?
Where do your characters go when the character sheet is closed?
This is some horse shit.
Another game. 16.
16.
20.
I have a terrible perception.
8. So Hugon, you are pretty much blinded by this. You are not used to being in cold weather climates like this.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more like he's got the wind in his eyes. He just got he got if you've ever had actual snow or even those almost atomized ice crystals during a blizzard blow up in they hurt.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't like it.
God, no.
Also, Cormier is a pretty temperate zone.
Yes.
So it doesn't really get that cold.
Yeah, blizzards are uncommon, and the stories are told for years of, do you remember the blizzard of...
We had 12 inches of snow.
That 1 year.
That 1 year, 12 years ago, and everyone's like, wow, you guys are fucking wimps.
This is like when North Carolina gets snow. It's they talk about it forever, but anywhere else where it's you get snow anywhere else, you're like, yeah.
I'm seeing them as saying it was 12 inches 12 years ago. What was really a quarter of an inch, and people just freaked out.
It was a dusting.
Deal with it.
Jesus God, take the wheel.
But Drenmai, you're able to basically you're sheltered from a little bit from the snow a little bit. You're probably standing right behind Hugon or Quohand or something like that, where they're kind of taking the brunt of the wind. So you're able to kind of look around but it's still kind of obscure, but you think you see a large shadow just ahead of you on the pathway there. It almost looks like the ice and the snow and the rock had moved a little bit, but Thunic, you step out and you very clearly see in front of you a large, probably 18 to 20 foot tall, mound of fur, looking back at you. That's kind of blending into the wall that you could see where your eyes are used to picking out the natural camouflage of animals. Just your time in the forest, there's just, you're used to be able to pick out the pheasant and see it, even though it's hiding, its natural coloration allows it to hide from just about anything else. You kind of have an eye for picking those things out. So you're able to pick out over the howling of the wind and through the blasting of the snow, you're able to see like this about 20-foot mound of white fur staring back at you.
Is it staring in a hostile manner?
Roll for hostility check.
Yeah, do a hostility check.
Do you feel scrutinized?
No, but you
Is
feel
it
judged.
Am I being silently judged from across the hall? I don't know. Roll insight. Oh, yeah.
It's basically
Yeah,
friend, enemy.
Let's
or
do an insight
lunch.
check on that.
So
Oh, wow.
to clarify the scene, we're just in the open on the side of a mountain.
So it's not so much in the open. So it's almost like a natural alcove,
Okay.
kind of like a half like amphitheater that's probably about 25, 30 feet high. So like there's like a small area right where this door is kind of like flush, like built up against the rock, where it's a little sheltered, but it's just the way that right now like snow is just blasting in there.
So we're trying to get to that door.
No, that's where you came out of.
We're leaving the
Okay.
amphitheater, so we're probably going up like a metaphorical set of stairs, like or a hill.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
Oh,
19,
we're
by the way.
not. We're up, or we have to go uphill from our point, not downhill.
Well, the path that you originally saw
Or
is
is
kind
it
of.
fine?
It's kind of like the path is like following the side of the cliff. So the cliff is coming up on your left, and it's like kind of like the snowy path, but it just sort of ends. It's kind of sloped down a little bit. But so
It
yeah,
sloped down?
so this
What's my debt?
uh-oh. I just realized what I've done and I regret it immediately.
Come on, Brian.
I did wow.
You knew who you were dealing with.
I know, but I forgot about a certain piece of equipment that Dren carries with her.
Exactly.
Of course. How could
But
you forget about that?
so this little area is probably about 50-foot diameter, or 50-foot diameter, roughly obloid. And then look, you see ahead of you, it's kind of on the edge. So probably about 25, 30 feet away is where you see this mound of fur with the eyes looking at you. And
So
so you would need to do an insight check if you want to know
19.
how hard. 19.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Not hostile is not what you would is not what you're picking up on. More wary. So in the times where you've been hiking through the woods, generally speaking, most of the creatures there don't view you as a threat. So it's not like the second you walk, you come across an animal, it immediately bolts. But you do know they are wary. Like, so wolves are typically wary of their territory. When there's some kind of new creature, even a creature they know, that there's sort of like a, oh, you're here type situation. That's more like what you're getting from the look on this creature's from these creature's eyes. This creature's eyes.
From my perception check, can I tell whether or not it is an animal or just large and furry? Because if it's an animal, it's time for animal friendship.
Large
it's
and
time for capybara.
There is a sentience to those eyes. So you don't think it's an animal per se. I'm going to see if there's actually a run. And I'm This is the problem when you guys ask me
Dren's
questions.
gonna go snowboarding.
How did I know? Yeah, it's not an animal. You would take it as more of a sentient. The look on you're getting is more,
Self-aware, like full on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if I see the look on Thanuk's face that it's not going to be like anything that's going to eat me, I'm totally taking my shield off and I am sledding this shit out of this hill. Off, down, on. You're welcome. Turning around. Bye, guys.
Woohoo! So there's a great old Disney cartoon of Goofy going skiing on the Matterhorn,
Oh God.
and he hits a
Yeah.
ski. He hits a ski jump, and all you hear is. That's it.
Mhm.
So give me a dex check.
Okay.
Are you trying to stand on this thing, or have you just like plop
No.
down like sledding?
No, it's like total little kid. I just appeared out in this place. I see snow everywhere. I'm like, yee.
So are you doing more of the luge, or are you doing the skeleton?
I'm
Are you on
sitting
your
down on it, and I'm holding on with like 2 hands.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like cross-legged, sit down.
Oh, so that's good. 'Cause you're riding on one of those red discs that are gonna kill you.
It's my
okay.
shield.
Yeah.
Those are amazing. Let's be
Do
fair.
yeah. They are the fastest. They have the lowest coefficient of friction. Give me a dex check.
Okay, Dex.
Dex.
Fuck. 5.
5.
You immediately go, and like the front of the shield dips into the snow, and you just start catapulted out.
I have a mental image of her being catapulted, but she.
landing on the 17.
Oh gosh. I see her landing like, you know, when foxes are hunting and then like poof, and they go face first, but then her feet are like.
So, Dren, you jump on your sled and or your shield, and you immediately start zipping down. And this is a good snow for sledding. But the problem with those things is that, as you know, as soon as you get on them, if you shift your weight the wrong way, you turn around backwards. And that's what happens. And you kind of like you turn around backwards. So now you're viewing everyone. So you're looking up and you can see the Fiedlersons. You can see Hugon with his look on his face. Thunic is I would imagine Thunic is delighted by this.
A little bit, yes, but
But
he's
also
also a little
concerned.
bit concerned because he was about to say hello to this giant furry thing to make sure that it was aware that we were not going to
Which
harm
now you definitely, as you zip past this thing, you see this like Dren. You see like this 18-foot tall, 20-foot tall, big hairy thing, and right as you see like this big hairy thing, like you're looking up on it, you careen off to your right, everyone else's left, into the side of the cliff until you hit a giant snowbank. The sled stops. You do not.
Okay.
And you snow fox into the snow head first.
Okay.
Feet kicking. Yeah. And where, just out of curiosity, where's Rozzy with all this?
He probably actually would have stayed back with the group. He wouldn't have followed me.
He's looking a little disapproving at you, like, not again.
Probably, because he's had this thing of we keep going places and they're not very, literal shitty places for him. So he's probably like, nah, I'll watch you and then I'll join.
So there we have it. We have Dren did her snowboarding trip. But by her doing that, the big furry thing actually turned its head to watch her go by, and now Hugon, you're able to see that there is something there. You're able to see this large thing, as of yet unidentified, but it is big. It is a big old thing. So, Thunic, you said you were about to greet.
Yeah. Thunic is going to say, "Hello, friend. How are you?"
And the thing turns back to you, and it says, "We got visitors. It's not often we have them come this way."
Is he
Who are
speaking?
you?
Is he speaking common?
Common.
Oh. My name's Thunic. My name's Thunic Gentletrunk. And that is my point at Drenmai. That is my friend, Drenmai. She's nice.
A foot waggle from like the snowbank as I'm trying to wiggle out.
Here.
But of course this is more like This is all shouting at him because this is we're in a blizzard, right? So his conversation is all shouting, I
Yeah.
suppose, except for this 18-foot individual who does not need to shout, I imagine.
And yeah, his voice kind of like, it sounds like rocks tumbling down a mountain. And he looks over and he sees the foot and he just reaches over this enormous arm over and plucks Dren up very carefully by the feet and like brings her over and is like dangling in front of, like upside down by her foot in front of you.
I look like a troll. My hair's all up.
Oh, the dolls.
The little toy troll.
Yeah, there's snow. It's like frozen. What are you supposed to be?
Upside down. I'm a gnome. My name's Dren.
Okay. And he like,
He's nice.
and he like puts you down and like as gently as he can on the snow, and it's remarkably gentle for such a large creature. And he looks at,
I like flop.
and he looks back at you, Thunic, and he says, "And you're a giant king, aren't you?
Yep, I'm a furbolg.
Don't see many of you around here."
Where is around here? I'm from Trundlewood. Wait, doing the thumb over the what clearly looks like a wall. I imagine at this point. I imagine where we came through now basically looks like a wall.
Yeah, that door is closed off. The shimmer has gone away, and it's basically this. The wooden frame looks the same as the one that you guys have in your basement.
Mm-hmm.
There's some slightly different symbols on there. But yeah, it's basically a wood frame with just a natural rock wall right away, and the giant creature says, "Well, you got business with the monks here?"
Yes.
Yes,
Chandlewood.
what he said.
Never heard of it.
It sucks.
Oh, and that's Hugon. He's grumpy.
A bit. It's pretty cold out here, and I would like to find a place indoors instead of the snow and the wind. And yes, we do have business with the monks. Two of our friends here, the itty bitty Drenmai one, and he just points to Laura Lissa,
Mm-hmm.
and he can't remember her name.
Laura Lissa.
I know, but like,
No, you guys are drinking buddies.
and he's like,
Her.
have an issue that the monks might be able to help with.
And he looks over at you. He kind of eyes you up, and he looks over at Laura Lissa and Quohand, who's like, enormous.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that Laura Lissa and Quohand are like barely phased by the snow.
Yeah.
They were from, they're and he kind of looks at them and he gives them kind of like you see like kind of like a knowing, like, oh, these folks aren't affected by the cold, and I understand that they're from this. They get it. Did you guys remind me? Did you guys brought Buck with you? Correct.
I thought.
Yeah, because I thought you guys winterized him before you.
Oh, we did. You're right. You're right. We did winterize Buck.
You winterized Buck.
Yeah,
So
we didn't minimize him. We winterized.
I imagine that entire process would be terrifying to Thunic because you literally, in order to winterize something like that, you have to basically bleed it of anything that could freeze. And he's like, you're bleeding him to death.
Yeah, I was probably
Thunic, go outside.
enjoying that. Like,
Go outside right now.
oil's coming out.
but meanwhile, but yeah, so you were probably like playing it up, like, oh yeah, he's bleeding right now. I'm gonna fix it, but
And like Hugon would occasionally lean and be like, "Dren, stop."
But you were just following the manufacturer instructions. I mean, he came with instructions on how to do this properly, so it wasn't like, oh God, what are you doing to this poor thing? And so the creature looks at you guys, and he says, he says, he looks like he's sizing all of you up, and he says, well, This is above my pay grade. I'll let the monks decide. Follow me. And he starts trundling down this path, which just from the sheer size of him, you would think that he would not fit, because he's nearly 20 feet tall and wide, and shoulders and like the hands. He almost looks like a giant ape, but walks a little bit more upright. Doesn't have the same kind of like, hunchback gorilla walk dragging the knuckles, but the arms are a little bit too long, and everything. And surprisingly, he doesn't sink very deeply into the snow, as deeply as you guys are going. As you guys are walking, you're getting almost like shin, sometimes knee deep or Dren deep in some cases.
Like that little corgi puppy, you just see it poof every now and then out of the snow.
Razi has actually a lit on Thunic's shoulder, and is like kind of hiding behind his head a little bit, trying to like stay out of like, he's like kind of curled up, like trying, like, no, you know how like, so he's kind of like got like one wing like over his nose, kind of like how the dogs put the tail over the nose when they're super cold.
Yeah, Razi hates the cold.
So, but you notice that this creature does not actually sink all the way in. It looks like he's not like doing the whole Legolas where he's like not leaving any footprints, but he's not sinking in as deep. And he leads you like to like what looks to be the end of this path. And then you can see it's almost like an optical illusion where once you get to the end of the path, that you can see there actually is, it kind of like skirts to the left a little bit. There's almost almost like you didn't see the edge of the cliff, the way it almost blends together. And the blizzard doesn't make it easy for anything to be seen. And you see it cuts, and he shows you, by following him, you're able to figure out how to follow this path away from the door. And so what you have is like this sheer cliff that goes up 50, 60 feet or so on your left, that, snow, ice, it's got those like icicles, those ice sheets and pillars hanging off of it. To your right, it is like a steep drop down, of 200-300 feet, where it is just straight down. And then you can kind of see like probably about another 50, 60, 70 feet away is another cliff face. But it's difficult to see in the storm. It's very shadowed. With all the snow and just the dark rock itself, it makes it difficult to see. But you can see that the way this path goes is that the canyon, basically, that you guys are traversing along, kind of curves around. The walls on your left, it's curving around to the right as you work, and it slowly works its way down. And you end up coming he leads you to another wider landing, of where there's actually a building face carved into the stone. It almost looks like a temple carved into the stone. And there's some torches that are lit out front that are barely staying lit with the wind. The flames are almost blowing horizontally, but somehow they're maintaining. They are maintaining their flames. And the creature gets there, and you can and he reaches up, and he rings this enormous bell, and you hear this dong. Like it's just this once really deep. You can't imagine the size of this bell to create such a low pitched sound. And he points over like to this little alcove where there's no snow. You can see it's been swept away at the steps. It's kind of like, it's almost like a porch with, pillars and everything. And he points over and he goes, "Way over there. Get out of the cold." And as soon as you step in, you can feel immediately the temperature pops up. Not necessarily to a nice, comfortable room temperature, but more like, this is 50 degrees as opposed to 20. and you're able to take a second, like, can I shake off all your snow? And gets it out of the beard. Dren's hair is still frozen straight up.
I'm totally keeping it that way for right now.
For the duration of the trip.
It melts on its own. I'm totally keeping it as like a spike.
I suppose like a giant like ice chunk just come.
Yeah, pretty much. Because like I've got braids in my hair and stuff, so it's just like it's braided on this side. If it's still spiky up there, heck yeah, I'm leaving it.
It's all out of my face. It's so great.
Put some ornaments in there. I'll just look like a Christmas tree walking around my head.
Do any of you ever read Pippi Longstocking as a kid?
No.
I'm aware of it.
Yes.
All the drawings of her have her braids going straight out of her head, or going like or like curling up. I sort of just have this image of your braids slowly drooping as they thaw.
Yeah, it'll just go. I'm just melting, literally.
Oh, I'm melting. Oh, I'm melting. Yeah, so you get you wait there for a few minutes, and then a man comes from inside, and a door opens, and a man comes out, and he's wearing these robes that are of like dark purple and gray, of varying shades and blacks, and as he moves, it's almost dizzying to if you look too closely at his robes, because the way that they move, they almost flow like shadow. Just how they hang and how the different, as the light catches them from different directions. It's almost like sometimes when in certain lights, it almost feels like he's disappearing. Parts of him are almost like disappearing just into the shadow. And he opens the door and he steps out. And he looks up and he says, "Well, Nuckluck, do we have some visitors?" And Nuckluck, this giant creature, says, "Yeah, bot. Came out of the gate. They say they're from someplace called the Chandlerwood. They seem trustworthy. Watch out for the little one, though. She's going to be a handful." And he walks off. And give me one more perception check as he walks off.
Perception.
Oh man, apparently perceptions are not something I should be rolling.
I'm so frozen.
24.
24.
6.
6. So you're too busy like getting the snow out of your beard and out of your eyebrows and everything. And Dren is obsessed with her hair right now because it's like, oh, it's pointing on top now. Has your son ever had his hair spiked with gel?
Yes.
So he's probably done the.
He went full mohawk for a while.
He's probably did that where it's like, where it's all pointy and so. But Hugon, you actually noticed that the entire time you guys were walking with him, that his right arm was actually covered in a white cape that was almost the same. It looked very similar to his own fur. So if you weren't really paying attention, it's almost like one of those half capes, that kind of like a half cloak that comes around. And you're pretty sure you hear a brief hiss of steam as the arm, like, so as he turns around and as like the arm like bends a little bit, you're pretty sure you hear a and then he goes, he takes a few steps into back up the path, and within like 10 feet he's gone. It's like he's just disappeared again. Wow. Yeah. He's just melted into the environment. And now this human, shaved head, clean shaven, comes walking out, and he goes, "Well, welcome to the Monastery of Shadow. How may we be of assistance? It's so rarely that anyone comes by this way. Most people use the front door."
What was this place called?
Monastery of Shadow.
Of Shadow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wanted to write that down.
Are you here for training?
let's put a pin in that.
Because immediately Hugon's like,
yeah. Hugon's in a moment of like no, but like maybe yes. But
my fists could become weapons.
I could become more dangerous. 2 of our number here. He points at Drenmai.
Mm-hmm.
Drenmai and
Laura Lissa.
I know who she is. Hugon.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And like I'm sure that she's just like, what the fuck, man?
She's like, dude, we drank. I drank you under the table.
And
what the
like,
hell?
He's like, lies. No, you didn't. I won.
You want to be in the fastest one drunk?
She and Drenmai have some sort of nefarious
They have a condition.
An affliction.
Attachment to some kind of shadow stuff. Look, I hit
Shadow
them,
bullshit.
okay? Look, I'm trying to stay in my lane here, but they're both singularly unhelpful, so I have to do it. So they both need some help with their shadow stuff.
Shadow stuff.
Yeah, Drenmai, show him your lantern thing. And you do the daggery float thing that you do. That's really neat party trick, but has no actual function.
What was the daggery?
She like manifested like a little pedestal of shadow that she put something on top of.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so so Laura Lissa steps forward and she like concentrates super hard for a moment, and she's able to like manifest some of the shadow into her hand into like an orb. And as she does that, Dren, you actually you don't get a headache. You're dead. All right, guys, great session.
Die.
I win D&D. No, you don't necessarily. It's not like you get like a headache. You start getting like one of those pre-headaches, where you know the headache.
Gone for too long.
It's so like when you start feeling like oh god, I know a headache is coming, and if I don't get some ibuprofen real soon, my day is shot. That's what you start to feel, but you don't feel like it's necessarily with you. You can tell that there's something again going on. You feel like that same ball of tension in Laura Lissa's mind as she manifests that shadow orb. And then you have your lantern out, and before you described it as like you have the gem that you had used to release Laura Lissa from her bond, and added it to your own lantern, but it started to have like spiral tendrils reaching out.
Yup.
And as she does that, a tiny little tendril grows out of like a little one, almost like a little capillary, little doesn't really go very far. But you can see it grows a little bit on your lantern. And Bart, the monk.
Bart?
Yes, Bart.
Oh,
that's him.
Okay, all right. I wanted to make sure you didn't say fart.
Mm-mm.
Like, because I heard art and I was like,
Sparkle fart.
yeah.
Art blew a fart, blew the whole damn thing apart. So yeah, he.
Quality mature content here.
Yes. We're the quality content that you've been missing for your entire life.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had no idea.
Damn it.
Life was so dull before you tuned in and watched Team X, or listened to Team X, as the case may be.
And now you have new people to mock. This is joyous.
So Bart takes a knee in front of you because you guys are standing next to each other, and he reaches out a hand towards your lantern, Drenmai, and it's not like he's trying to reach to grab it. He's got it like almost like palm, like fingers up, and he has it near, and he goes, he stops and he goes, "May I?"
I'll nod.
And so he puts his hand like gently on that, and then he puts his hand on Laura Lys's hand, and he closes his eyes for a moment. And you can see he's kind of like looking, but looking, but like his eyes are closed. You can see he's like back and forth, and he says, "Oh dear, this is beyond me."
You know, just go does the like the
I feel
God.
no, I've never seen it quite like this before. I believe there are those here who can help. Oh, you must come in immediately. You all must come in. And he gets up and he goes to the door and he opens the door and he like gestures for everyone to enter into the monastery.
Just for shits and giggles, like I'm like kind of walking that way, I just want to do like a general like Arcana check of here.
Mm-hmm.
To see what I feel. That like we're not being duped.
The dupe is strong.
I'm gonna go in there. They're like gonna take out my kidney and sell it on the black
Well, the first
market.
thing you need to do is give us your credit card, and once we have your credit card, then we can start the process of healing you.
Exactly. For only 3 low payments.
Every day of $19.99.
Yeah.
For 3 gold a day, every day for the next 6 years.
For the rest of your natural life, which isn't long. Okay, I got a 16.
So you're just kind of trying to take like the barometer of the place. It sounds like
Yeah, I'm getting my magical feelers, but I'm not gonna walk into some kind of ambush or something.
No, this place definitely has its magic on. You can feel there's definitely arcane energies flowing throughout this place. You can feel that there's concentrations of it here and there, not to the point where you could like pinpoint and say, oh, right there is where shit's happening. But there's definitely folks here that there's the residue of arcana in the stone of this place.
But it doesn't feel nefarious or anything.
Not yet. It actually seems very
Not yet.
not yet.
It's
But it's gonna.
Wait.
No, so I mean, as you're like walking into this place, you get, as you walk inside, I mean, it's been carved like into the living stone itself. It's these beautiful like 15-foot high hallways, very smooth walls, but there's lanterns on the walls, but you can see that there's different, like, the lanterns themselves all have like different shaped crystals in them, and there's all knobs along the bottom of them, and it's like every 10-15 feet or so they're very regularly placed. No, you actually get almost a very as homey a feel as you can get for such a Spartan environment, because there's really not, I mean, the monastery, so there's not a lot of.
You want to steal all of it.
There's what? Gonna take it all.
You're telling me there's lanterns with crystals in them and they're decorating. I'm like,
Gotta get them all. Gotta get them all.
shop.
Yeah, they're all about at the 10-foot level.
Yeah, I can't get to it.
Yeah. So, but you do notice that there are along the ceiling. It's like an arched ceiling, and there's carvings all along the ceiling. Very beautiful carvings. They almost seem like random patterns. But no, you don't get a feel of anything nefarious. Nothing like, oh, there is some power word death happening here.
Okay.
These are the guys that sew snakeheads onto the bodies of orcs, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of that. You don't
I'm
get
okay
that.
with that.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm fine with that. I just make sure it doesn't happen to me.
Architecturally speaking, what's this place looking like? Like, what kind of construction are these buildings? Or rather, what I should say, what sort of race does it look like the buildings were constructed by and for?
Let's get an insight check on that.
The character sheet. I have a 13.
13. This looks like what you've seen in books about dwarves.
Okay.
That's as best you could tell. You wouldn't be able to get much more detail than that. But in the stories that you've heard, like this is what you would imagine a dwarven stronghold.
Very angular, very thick concrete or
yes,
stone structures.
Very sturdy. What you do pick up on this is that it is incredibly defensible, because you notice as you are in this hallway, you see that every 50 feet or so, wherever you're, if the hallway is that long, but you notice that none of the hallways are much longer than 50 feet. And you can see that there's a place for, a large, it looks like heavy oak doors to slide down at regular intervals. So this is a place that, whether they work or not, you don't know, but this is from your time in the Cormyrean, okay.
Yeah.
Infantry is like, this is a defensible position.
Okay.
You would be able to make do with a small group of soldiers and hold this place. You would not need an entire army.
Gotcha.
This was definitely built with that in mind.
Okay.
So he leads you in, and there's you're able to kind of, once you get inside, it immediately warms up. Now it is like room temperature, what you're expecting, like the perfect 72 degrees. It's a very dry heat.
Okay.
So you're able to doff your various and sundry clothes and whatnot.
Clothes and what have you.
Yeah. And as Bart said, as you guys are doing that, Bart says to you, he goes, so it is unfortunately very, very late in the day. And I don't know that at this very moment we can get you to Al-Khabir in order for him to help you. But I'm going to go talk to him immediately. But I imagine that you might be here for a few days. You're free to leave anytime you wish.
Okay.
You're free, but would you want to have some accommodations while you're here?
That would be good.
So what he leads you to, he starts leading you down some hallways. You see other monks walking around, engaged in various activities of the upkeep of the place. Some open doors where it looks like they're engaged in in education or meditation. And he gets you into some very simply appointed cells that basically have a cot, a trunk, and a place for you to hang your things.
Okay.
Says, we're going to, he's like, I will come and get you in just a few moments. I have to make sure that we have you registered here and let the appropriate parties know, but we shall get you straightened out straight away.
Okay. Thank you.
So at this time, game-wise, we're going to take a really brief break. It's approximately halfway through our playing time. We will be back in about, if we'd started on time. So we are going to take the briefest of breaks for approximately 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to go take a full tour of our amenities at our respective homes. And we'll be back with the second half of the season premiere for season 2 of Team X. Stay tuned.
Burb.
This podcast contains
Okay. All right.
Hey, everybody. We are
Oh, we's
back.
back.
We are back. Oh, we back. And we are back with part 2 of the season 2 premiere. They said it wouldn't last, but we said we were going to do it anyway.
Did say that. That did happen.
So where we left things off, the party had been escorted into these austere, you could call them, sleeping compartments, cells, I guess would be the proper.
Yeah, cells is a good word.
The monastic cell.
Mhm.
Are there bars and blocks?
No, not those kinds. Yes.
This isn't the fun kind of cell.
This is not the blood circus.
This is not the one that Hugon goes off to pay for every now and then.
Not here. Not in this place. We don't talk about that here.
I mean, like, if the monks piss me off, I will. Like, I'll talk about it like very loudly to the young monks.
This is what you're
Like,
missing out
oh
on, man.
man,
With your
I'm
vow
gonna
of
ruin your
celibacy.
little church thing here.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck this is.
So Bart, the monk, Bart the Shadow Monk had escorted you to these places, to your sleeping quarters, and had said that he was going to make the necessary arrangements for you to meet with someone named Al-Khabir, who would potentially be able to help you. He did say, though, after we went off air, he did say that you could stay you could have free run of the place for it'd be about an hour before he'd be able to come back to you and let you know where you needed to go and make the necessary arrangements. So you have about an hour to kill here at the monastery. Where are you?
I thought you were going to say you have an hour to kill him. I was like, whoa.
You have an hour to kill everyone in the monastery. Go.
And you hear the sound of a lot of sharpening happening from the gun cell. Just like obsessive sharpening.
I thought that was going somewhere else.
Yeah,
Oh boy. Okay.
Shoo, buddy. Yeah, no. It's not that you have an hour to kill everyone in the monastery. You have an hour. You have an hour to kill here. To do what you want to do. It's kind of like there's like a common area. I'm actually going to try to bring up my map here. Not that I'll be able to share my map with you without completely screwing up the stream here. But I'm going to bring up my map for my own
computer.
Well, there's nothing secret on this one here.
There's a map
that I would gladly share with you.
It's time to hack the internet.
I hear the internet's coming to computers now. This is more just for my own reference so I could tell you what's in the area. I thought I had printed it out, but alas, I had not done that yet. I just got to figure out where I put it. But yeah, you have an hour to do kind of walk around, wander the premises, see what's going on there. Let's see, where did I put it? Oh, here we go. How would I put it under D&D map
letting
assets?
me wander. I am absolutely going to wander.
I must have put it someplace else.
In one spot.
I must have put that someplace else. Well, anyway, we might need that. Okay. So, anywho, yeah. So you're basically like in a common area. The place is pretty well lit, but you do notice that there are. It's not like brightly lit. It's more of a warm lighting. You see more of these lanterns that I described. It basically, it's like a normal sized lantern that have like these different crystals and these different knobs on them. But you notice that there's very artful shadows cast on the wall from these things, and the shadows intersect from the different lanterns, and you can see that actually creates some geometric patterns in some cases. Sometimes it looks like representations of people or of creatures, nothing necessarily very descript, but you can definitely see that there's a thought process here in how the shadows play on the walls. And in this common area where there's a lot of these lights around, it's kind of almost like an octagonal shaped area. It actually like has it lends itself to the aesthetics of the place, where it's actually like artfully done, very very nicely done. Where the floor, and as you walk across, as you find yourself as you're walking, that your shadow actually plays into that. It doesn't disturb it, so it's not like, oh, there's this cool geometric pattern, I'm gonna go take a picture of it, and as soon as you step to take the picture, like your shadow's cast over it and it ruins the look. Like it seems like no matter where you go, your shadow, the way the lights are hitting, fragmenting, and the way the lanterns are shining, that it's almost like your shadow adds to the art of what you're seeing on the floor and on the walls. So with about like I said, you have about an hour to kill. What is it? Is there anything that you would like to do while Bart is getting himself to making the necessary arrangements for you?
I want to steal a lantern.
Are you like tugging on Thunuk's pant leg?
Thunuk, your collar.
What?
Lift me up.
Okay.
No. I'm not there.
Wait, are we all in the same area?
We're in this different cells.
We were escorted to different places, but if we're all wandering around, I imagine Drenmai will run into Thunuk because she's like, I have a master plan. All I require is a living ladder.
There's probably no alcohol here at the monastery.
I was just about to say Hugon's gonna lose it.
It depends. I mean,
it depends on how nasty the monks are.
Do they have sacramental wine?
There are such monasteries that their entire thing is, we make beer.
Well, right. Those are Trappists. Those are not military. Those are not militant meditative monks.
But they're also.
But these guys aren't necessarily militant. These have all been humans. You've seen some like humans. You've seen some like elves, some half elves. I mean, you've seen a fair mix of people at this place. But there's nothing that's just the structure is very old. So it's not necessarily that it was built as a monastery. It was built. It looks like it was a dwarven stronghold at one point that was repurposed.
Okay.
Upcycle.
Well, I mean, Hugon's interested in that kind of thing, so he'll probably just wander the grounds, studying the strategy that went into building this place, and like probably just mentally drawing up plans because that's the kind of person that he is. He can't help it.
Like there's some people that like case the joint, like, oh, how am I going to rob it? Like you're more like, how would I
defend this place? How would I attack this place? It's like he's playing chess, but with the building.
I like this.
That is exactly what you think it means. That's a very Red Knight thing.
Yeah, no, I really like that. That you're thinking very tactically about, okay, how would I try to, and so as you're doing that, like, as you're wandering the hallways and seeing how you can see that everyone's freely allowed to move around the place. It doesn't seem like there's any restricted areas, but you could see how it was built, how it could be defended. And just about every time you come up with a plan where you say, or you start thinking, well, no, hang on, I would try, if I were to attack, I would need this equipment and I would come, oh no, wait. And you'd always find that there was, as you looked around a little bit more, you would find that no, that contingency was actually planned for.
Like they thought about it, like,
Yeah.
So he's like arcing back further and further into like his study days of like, this actually might be one of the things in a book that he read, like, but he wouldn't know the name of this place. So he's like,
do a history check for me.
Okay. I'm +5 to that. 18.
18. This is in fact a place that you've read about. That its original name was Stonehaven.
Okay.
And You don't necessarily remember the particulars of the exact clan who built it. The years are a little lost to you, but you do remember that it was you do remember that from what you did read, it was a much larger facility than what you're currently seeing. So it's possible that there were other tunnels, entrances, other that may have since collapsed or just been lost to time because it was very old. It was a long time ago.
Cannibalized for other things.
Used, and it might be So you would not be surprised. While you don't remember all the maps of this place, you would not be surprised if you were to start poking around to find like an old door that if we were to open it, it would like, oh, there's a hole. There's probably there might be a hallway here.
Or like there's a stairs leading down to like a series of barracks that are underground that like zigzag through the mountain. Or like, there's a war room at the top of that tower, or there should be. Yeah, that kind of thing.
You do remember that. You do remember that this was part of the facility. It was also renowned as a place, even with the when the dwarves were here, that it was a place of learning, and that there was a part of the dwarven clan that was dedicated to, rather than gathering minerals, it was more about gathering information.
Okay.
And you do remember, so it's somewhere in here at one point, there was an extraordinarily large library to the point where it was known at the time as the Candlekeep of the North. But that library has been in disuse for so long that it hasn't been used in hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's been a very, very long time. But that this is a place that you've read about, and you do remember the reason why it fell. It was not from outside invaders. It fell from...
Most structures of this sort designed with an exterior defense in mind do end up falling from an interior threat. Because that's the only way that you can take them.
And it's often not so much the martial prowess of people or dwarves that cause a place like this to fall. It is often the egos and personalities that cause strongholds like this to fall. And it's usually just like it's ripped. Usually the community is torn asunder, and they end up moving and being absorbed into new clans. And but you do find a place, this to be a place of order, though. So that is definitely, you find that very appealing, having had your commune with the Red Lady just a day prior, or 2 days prior, a day or two prior. You find this sort of continues in this tradition that you feel like things here have a purpose. Things are put here for a reason. There's not like that one room where they just shoved everything. That doesn't seem to exist. Where the rest of the place looks nice, except for that one room, because that's where everything else is.
This is a facility that is sort of based on a militant version of mise en place.
Not so much militant. I mean, the structure itself is, you can see that stronghold, but now that the monks have moved into this place,
right, but
it's more like Marie Kondo moved into this place.
Okay. And she just like wiped out all the dross.
Sorry,
it's tidy.
Yeah.
It's things here spark joy. Things for you, in fact, Hugon, have sparked joy, because it's like, ow, I could defend this place. And you get to like the front entrance, right? Like the main entrance. And you're looking at this and like, I could defend this with 20 well-trained men.
Yeah.
With 15 if they're really good.
If they're really good, 15.
You had archers or that, and
if the game is over, bring it. And then so like he's experiencing all that, and then he's thinking about Pinedale, and then he just becomes angry. Like all that happiness just evaporates. Because Pinedale is trash.
No, wait. Give me a wisdom check.
Okay. That was almost an 18. God damn it. That is a 8.
And what's your modifier on that?
I rolled a 5. I rolled poorly. You said wisdom.
No,
and,
that's not a good number.
no, it isn't. I know that, and I think we all know that.
So
And I think that maybe we should just move forward.
you have a fleeting idea, but it's gone as soon as it goes, as soon as it's there. It's one of those things. You ever have that moment where it's like you have like this spark of inspiration, but the second you try to grasp onto it, it's gone and you
Yeah,
cannot
it's
remember.
infuriating. Yeah, it
Yes,
sucks.
It's yes. So, Dren, what are you
No.
doing?
Before I start thieving, actually, is there any monks around? Like, if I just go wandering around, am I gonna run into one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
this
I
is a
just
pretty
wanna-
well-populated place.
I want to find one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna do that thing where, like, I'm next to one of the lanterns. Like, I'll walk, and then if I see someone, I'll stop next to it and like make constant eye contact with one of them until they
Mhm.
come over out of curiosity of why I'm staring them down, and then like.
It's just like
Look
this
up-
unblinking tiny creature child.
Yeah.
Like, stop that.
It's so weird. and then I want to be like, who makes these? Because I see them all over. And then I'm gonna do that thing like looking at my lantern staff, be like
Mhm.
that, just the eye contact back and forth.
So you're doing the Labrador thing when you have popcorn.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes. Like that. I want that. I have this. It's an aesthetic.
So eventually, one of the younger, what looks to be, you'd imagine might be an acolyte of some kind, because he's wearing robes similar to the ones that Bart was wearing, but they aren't as elaborate. He doesn't seem to vanish the same way, and there's a bright. The part of the robes involves like a bright red sash over top of it that would absolutely prevent you from blending into shadow. And he sees you doing the whole, looking at look at him, look at the lantern, look at him, look at the lantern, look at him, look at the lantern.
It's super obvious since I'm short and they're
Yeah.
taller. Like, look.
And he says, do you have a question about it? He's a younger man. You can see he doesn't look like he has to shave very often. The head is one thing. I mean, they all pretty much have the shaved head, but like, with the face, he
He's
says,
got the baby face.
yeah. And he says, is there something I can help you with?
Be like, I can appreciate your stylings here, and I was wondering who makes them.
Oh, we do. It's part of our training.
Wait, is that okay? Is it like instant happiness? But then, wait, shit, is this like some kind of initiation thing? Like you have to go through whatever bullshit to get one?
No, but I think it's funny that it's like, because I imagine Dren just going, wait.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Oh shit. So you make a lot of them then?
Not a lot, but it's part of what we do. Sometimes they break. We must make new ones.
Do you have any extras?
We might have some old broken ones.
I can work with that.
Have you seen how they work?
No.
And
Eyes.
he reaches up and he adjusts one of the dials, and as he turns the dial, you can see like one of the crystals like starts to move, and as that happens, like you see the shadows start to shift. And he says each of the dials controls a crystal, and we can change the way the shadows work. And he changes it, and you can see as it does it, like the pattern that was originally a geometric pattern, like reforms and now looks like a panther, like a stalking panther. And he hits like another dial and he changes it, and now it looks like a waterfall. But it's kind of how it kind of like meld. It kind of like it's like when they do like that morphing thing where it's very natural how it makes that change. And this was only with one lantern. He goes, this is part of our meditative practice to see if we can find resonance with what we see, or to find out how we resonate with the shadows.
So, can I get like 1 or 2 or 20 of them? I'll buy them. I'll pay you.
He says, "Well, unfortunately, they're not for sale, and we're planning to fix the ones that are broken. They're locked up in a storeroom, but I don't believe that I would be able to. I don't have access to it. You would need to ask. You would need to ask one of the teachers."
I was about to say, I was going to do the angry customer. Where's your manager?
Be your supervisor.
Bring me your head monk so that I can chastise him for not giving me the thing that you don't have.
Bring me the boss monk.
I want to talk to your monk dad, whoever that is.
Who's your monk daddy?
Who's your monk papa?
Bring me the greatest of the monks.
Pop.
I love it when you call me.
Don't
monk
stop.
papa.
No, it's not cool anymore for you.
Oh man,
The air.
man,
Okay.
Biggie's rolling over in his grave.
Oh,
Yeah, he is.
whatever.
Oh no.
Biggie Biggs in D&D. I love all of it. I ship it. Okay, back on track. So I'll probably just make a mental note, and then I'll keep an eye out as I'm wandering around for maybe someone who looks a little more
Suggestible.
yeah. I need to find someone who's a little higher up in the monk food chain.
No pun intended.
A greater monk.
No pun intended. Ow.
I'll Thunic.
cut you if you don't get no.
Jesus. I got an hour to kill all of you unless you give me one of those lanterns.
I've only got an hour.
I gotta kill all of you guys. But if I get a lantern, won't happen.
What was that Jason
It's
Statham movie
fine.
called? Where he got
Crank.
poisoned?
Which one?
Crank.
Crank,
Crank.
yeah.
Oh, crank.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give Dren drugs.
Oh, don't.
Go ahead with the next.
Thunic doesn't really have much to do here, so it's been a few hours, right? I mean, we left like in the afternoon.
Yeah, you left in the afternoon. The trip was pretty quick, obviously through the portal, through the shadow gate. It was probably about an hour of walking along this path, which was, a little strenuous, but, for you, a little bit less so. You're a little taller than everyone else. So it wasn't, as like Dren having like pogo her way through.
He's going to look for the kitchens.
Oh, okay. There are, in fact, kitchens. Yes, there would be. They would have to eat.
He's going to follow his nose.
So you're able to. You find this to be a very contemplative place.
Mm-hmm.
Your cathedral, for the most part, has been outside. So this might be the first time that you've been inside a monastery like this, I would imagine.
This might be literally the fanciest place he's ever been in. Like everything is like very well like constructed and put together and purposefully designed, and all the fancy crystals on the walls making the fancy stuff. And he's basically in awe, but at the same time, every other step is like, "Where's the food? I gotta find some food. I'm hungry." And it's like, "Ooh, wow, pretty." And then
So it's
like,
basically Thunic walking through IKEA.
yeah, kind of. It's like I smell the meatballs, and like, what a well-appointed room. It's just not a real room, but it's very well appointed. Oh, meatballs!
And it's very, it's very simply designed, very purpose built, but still has an aesthetic to it. A very sparse, but functional and nice aesthetic to it. So, so yeah, but you're able to follow your nose down into the kitchens where there are several monks preparing a meal, and you can see they're generally preparing. You got some that are working ovens that are pulling fresh loaves of bread, of it looks like flatbread, out of it's like a tandoori, where they're slapping the bread up on the inside of it, and they're going in there with sticks and poking them off and pulling out these flatbreads, kind of like naan.
Yeah.
Um, they've got another couple pots of like stews that they're kind of putting together, and you got some monks that are chopping. But what you do notice about it is that there's monks from of differing uniforms, I guess would be the best way to put it. Like their robes. There are some that have robes that are similar to Bart's, where they're very flowing and almost like causing them to, like, especially with the way the lanterns are set up, it's almost like pieces of them are disappearing into the shadows just from the way that the light catches the robes. But there's others that you can see that have like less ornate robes, down to ones like the one Dren saw that has like the red sash on it. So it seems like making food is actually a communal activity. It's not relegated to just like, oh, it's the acolytes, you guys feed everyone. It seems very egalitarian, that everyone kind of feeds each other. So you come stepping into this kitchen. What you do notice is that the ceiling's plenty high. You don't have to duck through any of the doors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't have to, which is odd because you got to figure they get dwarves, right? But they make big things, so they need clearance. You never know when you might need to bring like a catapult. Yeah, through a door. So they were built with purpose minded.
Yeah.
But there's these enormous hearths, with fires cooking, and they've got the pots. And so, what is it you found the kitchens? What is it you would like to do?
Considering that everyone else is helping cook,
Mm-hmm.
Sonic is not rude. He's not just going to take some food and leave.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone is helping, so Thunic will help.
Oh.
But he has no idea what to do, so he's going to say, "Can I help?"
And one of the monks looks over, and then does the whole looks up. He was expecting just to talk and look, and then realize that he's talking pretty much like almost like your sternum, maybe your belly button region, and the ups. But he's not. There's no fear. You notice he's got slightly pointed ears, so it's a half elf. And he looks up and he says, "Well, yes, you can help. Do you know how to cook?"
Yes. Many things.
Many things. Well, we always like new things here. What do you think? What do you think we should make? What do you think we should add to this?
What do they?
And he turns over to the one of the brothers, and it was one of the ones with the really nice robes, the more senior robes, and he's like he says, "Brother, would you come here, please?" And he goes, "This large person says he knows how to cook and would like to help."
Sorry, this large person,
This large creature, massive meat and sticks.
Delicious meat.
Meat on a stick.
Meat a la stick.
It works in so many different ways.
Thunic, realizing that he has been referred to as a large person, he has not introduced himself. And in his classic cheery way, "Hi, I'm Thunic. I am from the Chandlewood."
And the and the younger monk says, "My name is Talib. I am of the Shadow."
Where's that?
Shadow is everywhere.
We've gotten into it now. It is encompassing all things.
The shadow is merely a part of light, and shadow is everywhere. And I am of the Shadow.
Thunic looks down at his feet, looks at his shadows, like, "You're from there? How?"
and there's a and both he and the more senior brother chuckle, but it is not a mean laugh.
Yeah. It's
an amusement because they've had this conversation before. And
what's it like there? Basically he's rambling on all those questions. They've heard all of them before. Like, you're from there. What's it like there? Blah blah blah.
And they said, these are questions we have all asked, and we're all seeking the answers to. But we can answer them at another time. He's like, and you hear like this grumble come from your stomach, and he's just like, it sounds like you're hungry. What can you show us? We can show you what we make here, but what can you show us? How can we make this better?
Better. Ooh. I don't know how to make things better, but I know how to make them different.
Different can be better.
Okay. He looks around like trying to see what they have. Does anything like pop out at him, like mounds of mushrooms and potatoes, or meats and such?
He on a stick.
He does have his brand new stick. He doesn't.
Stick fire. I also love cooking with the Nook segment.
That's probably not for eating, man.
Probably not.
Get in there. Got some in my ear. Getting your wax out. And
That otter gave you a gift, and you will treat it with.
Yeah. So he said, the younger brother to leave. He says, "Well, let me show you what we have." And he walks over. He walks you over to like one doorway, and you open up the pantry-way, and immediately you could feel how much cooler the room is, like on the other side of this door. And not from necessarily from the Thunic point of view, but from the player point of view, you would probably know that this is how the dwarves designed this. Mm-hmm. That there's probably some kind of way they designed the rock and cut into the stone to make this area remain always cool and dry. So basically, they've got a root cellar right off the kitchen.
Oh, okay. And
when you open this up, you can see there is a selection of various mushrooms and fungi in baskets. There's potatoes and other tubers, other varieties of nightshade. There's basically what you would imagine to find in a root cellar. Carrots. There's some jars that look like they're probably preserved vegetables. And then he goes, well, this is our root cellar. And then he takes you over to another door and opens it. And again, when you open the door, drastic drop in temperature. So maybe they tapped into some kind of like glacial ice somewhere and vented it directly into this room. And you can see here where they've got meat stored. It looks like venison, various game meats that you would find. That's they basically have. It's not the widest. It's not like you're going to find like everything you find, but a lot of the stuff you recognize. It's a dried variety of probably mushrooms that you're like, maybe you don't recognize the exact mushroom, mm-hmm. but it's like, oh no, that's really close to one. You're thinking that's probably one really close to what I know. Mm-hmm. I know that. So yeah, and he shows you and he goes, would you like to taste the stew that we're making so far?
Sure. He's going to warn them though that his tasting is probably like one of their portions because of differences in sizes.
So he offers you. He looks up. He goes to get the spoon. He looks up, and he gets like basically a smaller cup, like a teacup. Mm-hmm. And he puts that and he gives you. And it's kind of it tastes almost like a beef stew. Mm-hmm. Like maybe with some like potatoes in it and everything. It's kind of like a mishmash of things.
Like trying to make it look like he knows a lot about cooking, like wash like whoosh it around, looking at it like that's supposed to mean something.
He has seen people do this with like booze. And
exactly.
He's seen people slurp their soup. And he's like, "There's something going on here."
He's probably seen Hugon do that exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he's trying to like impress like the monk folk or whatever. Like, I totally know what I'm doing.
And as you're doing this, they're like raptly paying attention.
Thunic breaks out one of the satchel-sized pouches from his belt, mm-hmm. And starts producing various herbs of the chandal wood, things that are sort of akin to like a cross between rosemary and bay leaf at the same
Mhm.
time.
Mm.
And
Like a coffee bean or two.
like a coffee bean or two, and something that looks like basil, but smells like the hottest pepper you could come across. He's very gingerly touching that one. Um,
No.
yeah, but he sort of mashes them up, tosses them in the pot, and then he takes out a jar of like red liquid,
Mhm.
sets it aside, um, and goes into their root cellar and gets some more vegetables,
Mhm.
and asks them to boil up a pot of water, and he's basically going to also make uh, kimchi stew as well.
Oh.
Um, I imagine like something like kimchi exists in the Chandlewood, because something like kimchi exists everywhere in the world.
It's preserved. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fermented.
It's
Whatever.
the easiest thing that you can grow in the dirt, and then you put it somewhere so that it can rot in a controlled manner.
And then you
Yeah.
ferment
And
it
you eat
so
it.
it lasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you eat it.
So if you've ever had kimchi jjigae, he's basically going to make a pot of kimchi jjigae as well.
Oh, I hate you. I'm so hungry now. God, I would kill for some fucking kimchi.
Um, and he's also going to make a mushroom chutney.
Oh my God.
Or not chutney, curry.
Curry.
Yeah,
Oh.
like a
It's
venison
even
mushroom
better.
curry.
I like where you went with
All right.
that.
So I need you to make a check to see how all this turns out.
We can all go eat.
Yeah. I need you to make a check, but I need you to do this with advantage because I really want this to succeed.
Okay.
What would the check be? What would a cooking check be?
It's going to either be if you're going to do cooking,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a survival for probably camp cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's used to.
I would
Okay.
probably either say if it's survival for camp cooking, nature could be camp cooking or prep.
I
What do you
almost
have
wanna say
proficiency? What does
performance.
Sonic have proficiency in?
I can also see medicine being the thing because it's good for you, and he's trying to make good for you food.
It could just be a wisdom check, no skill associated.
It could be. I actually think that feels like very innate wisdom. Just a base wisdom check sounds about right.
There's no profession skill anymore. So
I'm going to use the. I'm going to call them out in case this fails, but also in case it's massive success. The Child's Play die. I really like. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a 10 plus 4, 14. And you said at advantage.
Mm-hmm.
That's an 18.
18.
What does your Child's Play one look like?
It is a white die with the Child's Play green for the numbers.
Ooh, very nice.
I will see if I can find the 20. I'll show it to you guys.
Okay, so oh, nice.
Pretty.
Very nice.
So I don't know. We're getting off a little track. There is a feat called Gourmand.
Really?
It's in Unearthed Arcana.
Oh.
For some reason, it raises your Constitution.
I understand why.
But you gain proficiency with cook utensils. If you are already proficient with them, you add double your proficiency bonus.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
So, this is a roaring success. So as you're like tasting, it's like the other monks, they're starting to gather other monks around, like to like taste this. They're like, oh no, you gotta try this, and like monks are like wandering in from like the hallway because they're smelling things like that smells different. But like but it's like you have everyone and like some of the monks are starting to shoo the other ones out because it's starting to get crowded. Like, no, you can't come in. Wait until after. No, we're gonna serve. No.
And like you see Hugon head peek around the corner. Like, are you cooking again?
Yes.
You use spiders?
Not this time. If you want spiders, I can make spiders.
No.
Maybe.
He discusses.
And Talib says,
ever put spiders in my food ever
again.
Do you have spiders like the big one? He's looking at Talib like they're really tasty.
And Talib says,
he's like, you stop him from doing that.
Talib looks up at you because he's kind of like been like your sous chef the entire time, right? He and the older monk both, but he's been the one that's been like, right next to like, helping you, like doing whatever you're like following, like doing whatever you've been doing, right, and trying to like help you out. And he looks, he goes, "You can do that?"
Oh,
No.
Yeah, have you ever had crab? It's like crab.
No.
You can eat crab. You
Crab are those
can.
like ocean bugs, right?
Yes. Bugs are tasty. He leans in and he grabs him by the shoulders. He's like, "You can eat anything."
See that tree bark? You can eat it. You just gotta marinate it long enough.
Cinnamon.
It's flavor.
Oh my god.
It's like
So-
one thing he learned from communing with the four and hanging out with nature with animals and stuff. It's like everything is food to everything else eventually.
this is true.
So you
It's
can
the
eat anything.
circle of life. And then we become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. And oh, enjoy Disney, you muggle. The look that I was just for the folks listening on the podcast, the look that Gideon Reese just made for me just to turn.
Yes, I scowl at Disney.
At any rate, so as all of this is happening, Dren, are you just sort of still wandering, or what are your plans right now? Like after you saw the lanterns.
Yeah, I was just gonna wander around to see if I could find someone. If I start seeing like a horde for some reason head to the kitchen, I'd probably be following it because I'm like looking at him like, do you have a red sash? Do you have a red sash? Like, nah, yeah, you do. No, you're not who I want. So I just like following the horde to the kitchen, I guess. Or
Yeah.
the
Okay. Yeah. So as all this is happening, right? You're like not even realizing that that's the direction that you're walking.
Yeah,
right?
no,
You're
I don't care about the food. I care about finding someone that doesn't have one of these damn red sashes.
So you eventually find yourself near the kitchens, and you hear it sounds like a horn being sounded that echoes throughout the hallways, and you start to hear a commotion out in like the common area outside of the kitchen, and Dren, you're just kind of aware of like all like these people walking around you. Like all of a sudden, there's a lot more kneecaps than there were before, a lot more ankles than there were before. Hugon, you see that when the horn sounds, that a lot of the monks start filling into like the main hall here, and they're starting to actually they quickly prepare the dining hall for eating.
Okay.
And as they're doing that, Bart comes up to you, Hugon, and he says, I can't seem to find your compatriots, but you've been invited to join Al-Habir for at his table for dinner this evening, so that he may discuss with you your reasons for being here.
Okay.
He seemed intrigued.
We're gonna need a big table. Thunuk is quite large.
Oh, we've already started to make the arrangements. We have a large chair.
Good. And the Fieldersons?
There might be a tight fit for his for the larger one, because we have human-sized chairs and we did have some for giant-sized. So it's going to be fine for your friend. For him, it was either too big or too small, so we went too small.
Okay.
But
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yes. And so the horn sounds again, and everyone starts settling in, and the food is basically the pots are kind of like wheeled out almost into like a common area, because it's like a self-serve situation. This is not a case of where people bring the food to you. And you do notice that in the line, everyone just sort of lines up. It's very orderly, but not necessarily in a specific order, where it's like, oh, all the senior people eat first. And then it just seems like wherever you get in line, very politely you get in line, and they're all talking amongst each other. It's not like silence, like, oh God, it's time to eat. You're quiet. But you do notice that there is one monk that just sort of in the middle of the line just sort of appears.
Mm-hmm.
Like he almost looks like he almost appears like he steps out of the shadow. But he's in the middle of the line, and he's just chatting it up with the other monks, like, like nothing. But Hugon, you do notice that there's sort of there is an air of deference around him, so you would pick up on him being
Gotcha.
There. So Thunic, all the food is being more wheeled out now, and there's a murmur. You hear a murmur in the crowd that we have this new cook, and we've added
Listen,
something.
you don't have him. He's our cook, right? You are being lent our.
Well, not so much like have, but more like there's excitement that there's new tastes that are being offered from the strangers who arrived at the back door, because no one ever comes to the back door.
That was the back
Everyone
door?
comes to the front. Well, that's how you guys came in.
Yeah.
There's the big front door that most people use. So what are you just going to sort of follow the crowd out, and like what's your plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow.
I imagine you had to make a separate pot just for yourself. Because that's the one portion you're gonna
Hot. Well, these are big like kettles. These are big
cauldrons.
Yeah, of stew, cast iron, very heavy, heat very evenly, very nice.
He's taken effectively what seems like a serving of each, and like a mountain of bread, and this is now just dipping sauce for him.
Dren, you find yourself sort of swept up in all of this. And you find yourself kind of like sitting in the group of monks at a table. You're not quite sure how you got there.
I was about to say, I'm just looking around like, well, who are you people?
Yeah. It was one of those things where you ever have it as a kid where you followed someone around thinking it was your parents and you realize it wasn't your parents. Like, wait, who the hell are you? Yeah. It's sort of that like, wait, I don't know you.
I'm in danger.
I need an adult.
400.
So Hugon, you hear Dren yell out. You hear Dren yell out that she needs an adult, and you see the shock of red hair kind of still like it's not standing up the same way anymore. Like the tops of it have started like melt and droop. So it's starting to fall. It's more like now just sort of like disheveled. It's more.
If you need to find me, just follow the puddles.
Yeah, it's more like out more now.
He patently ignores Dren and like goes straight back to eating.
Well, this is as everyone is kind of like sitting down. Like,
right. Well, he's sitting down and eating, and like just like she's a 400-year-old adult. She'll be fine. And in actuality, what he's probably doing right now is he's writing.
Yeah.
Yes, he has probably sketched a map of this facility and like the defenses in particular, how they make the gates, how they do their arrow slits, like what sort of defenses they have, their staircases, the way the courtyards and stuff are arranged, that kind of thing. So that's probably what he's been doing for the last hour, is like walking around and like sketching and taking notes, and like in one column you have Stonehaven and it's like listing a whole bunch of stuff, and in the other column you have Pinedale and there's nothing there. And so he's like taking as much information as he can.
Give me another wisdom.
Place is now.
Give me another wisdom check.
Okay.
I can also see him like start. He gets frustrated. Eventually, starts writing down curse words like.
Fuck.
That is a. You said wisdom?
Yes.
12.
12. You're starting to. It is. This is a little bit better. You're starting to get the inkling of an idea of how you might actually be able to apply some of this to Pinedale. You start to see where there's a bit of an overlap. That Venn diagram before was here. Now the edges are starting to touch.
Okay.
Thunic, so as you're out in the hall, everyone's kind of litting, kind of, getting their food and everything, and you hear Dren yell out, "I need an adult!" And you see the shock of red hair, and she's kind of like lost at this table. Although I imagine at this point you might be standing on the table.
Not standing so much on the table, just like on the bench.
Yeah,
and,
standing.
like, so I might be like this much taller than some of the monks around me, like looking over, like, where's my friends?
So Thunic, you actually have a very good view of her.
Based on the fact that I see her out in the crowd without food, Thunic will, I will grab a bowl of what I think she would like best. And I'm assuming it's the curry. We'll see how that works out.
Does Dren like spicy things?
Let me see, because I was just thinking about that. I'm like, what would I'd imagine I'd be pretty easy to please food wise, because I did do like a lot of traveling. So yeah, we'll say I am easy to please with food.
Okay, good. So you grab her
rolled
stuff.
A fake die.
It's okay. So you grab her bowl, and do you like grab her as you're walking by, or?
Do I know?
Because I'm assuming at some point, the message has been has been relayed to you at some point that you've been invited to join Akhabir at the table, at his table.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's got his hands are full of food. He's just like indicate to her like, hi, I have food. We're gonna go sit over here. We were invited to sit with someone special, fancy.
I instantly realized I haven't eaten probably like the entire day. I was like, food, and I just followed the bowl.
It's like the old Bugs Bunny, it's the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where it's like beckoning at
the tendrils. Follow to the boat.
And he just floats after it.
Food.
Excellent. Okay,
probably
so you
did not hear a word he said. It was just food.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So you all sit down, and where you sit down at this table, there is it's with this monk here. You have Bart sitting there, and you have another monk sitting there that's in very, very similar robes, but almost they have the same effect, but they almost looked even more simple. If that juxtaposition is a little hard to parse, but it's like very, very simple robes, but he still seems to parts of him seem to kind of flit in and out of shadow. That if you were to not watching him, that if you're looking on the peripheral, he almost just seems to meld and disappear. But he's sitting there, and you can see he's of indeterminate age. You're unable to. There's shaved, doesn't have any facial hair.
40.
Yeah, he could be 40 pushing 70. He could be 40 pushing 20.
12.
It's really. He just has, the only thing that belies his age a little bit is he has deep smile lines around his eyes. This is a guy who has smiled and laughed a lot in his life. He sits down or you sit down with him, and Bart introduces him. He says, my new friends, this is Akhabir.
Nice to meet you all.
Hugon kind of looks up and goes, huh. And continues to write.
And he looks over at you, Hugon, and he said, the older monk says, you have seen some things, have you not?
He looks up again and he goes, I mean, I think that should be obvious.
It is.
Just straight back to writing.
May you find some peace here. Dren, give me a Constitution check.
Okay. What is my Constitution?
Or liver ruptures.
Okay.
You got Crohn's disease.
Oh Jesus.
16.
16. The curry is.
I'm gonna start hearing Dren bitch a lot.
No, the curry is very spicy, but it's not like. You're not like you're able to. This is a good spice.
I'm a tough old bat, so
yes,
yeah.
If you're eating it and it doesn't make you sweat, the curry is not hot enough.
And there's a sweat, but it's not like, oh God, all I taste is pain.
Right, it's not pain sweat. It's this is a forge. This is making me a stronger person.
Yes. And he turns to you.
I'm killing my taste buds.
And he turns to you, Thunuk, and he says, you, my large friend, you made this. You helped make this meal.
Yep. You like it?
Very much. You must share a recipe with my monks. This is delicious. We love new flavors. This is just something we've never had before. Thank you very much for sharing.
I don't think it's a recipe. Thunuk is like, You can
What's the recipe?
You can write this crap down.
What's writing?
That would make it so much easier to remember.
What am writing?
Looks at Hugon as he's writing stuff down, like,
He's like,
huh.
he kind of intuits that a recipe is writing, but he's like, so Talib saw me make it, but I guess I could write it down. He starts looking around for pen and paper. He literally thinks he wants it right now.
No, not now, my friend. It is fine. Enjoy meal. It is fine. But thank you very much for sharing. We have much to learn from you, I'm sure. And then he turns to you, Dren, and you're sitting next to Laura Lissa, and it's almost like you guys sat down next to each other without even realizing it. It wasn't like it wasn't like these were the only two seats available. It was almost like this unconscious act of you guys sat down next to each other. And sitting next to you as you're eating, you guys are both, as you're kind of hoovering it almost in the same fashion. Like an unconscious thing. Like, it's like,
Okay.
and it feels familiar. It's not like you feel like you're being puppeted or anything. It's just like you're both are kind of just sitting there like, nom, 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 and he looks over at you guys, and as he looks, you see like the briefest like sparkle, like twinkle in his eyes. He looks over and he goes, "You, my friends, you are a mystery. You have been touched by shadow, I can see."
I was about to say, it's not the first time somebody said that to me.
He says, you have been touched by shadow. You must tell me what happened. How did you come to find yourself this way?
It's her fault. I'm just going to point, and I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to look. You know how to make those crystal lanterns?
He says, "Of course."
I realized he doesn't have a sash on at that point.
He says, "Certainly."
Okay, can I buy one or make one or have one?
I think we might be able to arrange something. Let us talk about that in just a moment. First, tell me how you came to be this way. You say it is her fault. He turns to Laura Lissa and she says, "Is this true?" And she just looks down at Dren. She goes, "No, not entirely.
She started it.
Little bit. Yeah, well, you made it whatever it is now, and
I was helping.
Oh my God! Both of you be quiet. And like Hugon like puts down his pen and like slides his paper to the side, and, like does his like folded hands like I'm annoyed now.
Dad mode activated.
He points to Laura Lissa. Laura Lissa made a deal with a blackguard.
oh, now you remember my name.
Yes, because you've pissed me off, and now the anger is triggered. So congratulations, you win a gold star. Laura Lissa made a deal with a blackguard for access to and control over certain aspects of shadow magic, based on what you have said. The issue is that the contract, being from a blackguard or a friend of a blackguard, was very not good. And it would kill her if she got out of that person's control. Drenmai, in a rare moment of
no.
in a rare moment of I don't even know what the word would be. Generosity?
Awesomeness.
Shut up.
Lucidity.
Yeah, decided to
Yeah, that's exactly how that just went.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Decided to try and break that person's hold over Laura Lissa. And she wasn't supposed to take anything from Laura Lissa, particularly the shadow power, and she did anyway, because she's a little shit. And now here we are, because they're linked together now by some sort of shadowy tendril nonsense. And it's a problem, and we need it to not be a problem.
And he says, "Yes, I can see. I don't think she stole anything. I can see. I have not seen this for many, many years."
That's exactly not what I wanted to hear.
No.
That's the opposite of
Yeah.
You're coming at me at the wrong level, brother.
I'm here, you're here.
we're not meeting in middle.
No.
He says, I believe you're seeing side effects of this, are you not, little one? He looks at you, Dren.
Would I be aware of any of it?
Well, you're aware of what happened to the lantern, and you know that's not normal.
But like, if there's any like adverse effects to me yet that I'm aware of?
Nothing that you're aware of, no.
Okay. I'll probably like I just took a bite of food, so it's like I got this and it's to put the crystal in here and I did this.
Dren, stop. Dren, stop.
Num, num,
Eat your
swallow.
food. Swallow. Then speak.
Swallow. So it's starting to spread into my other crystals, and I've never had that happen before.
He says, yes, I can see that's cause for concern. I think... He says, I think we might be able to help you, but there is a bit of a caveat to that. He says, the knowledge, we have access to knowledge to fix this, or at least begin the process to figure out how to fix this. You are not the first one to conduct this ritual. You are not the first one to end up in this situation. But unfortunately, that particular text is not available to us at the moment. But you may be able to fix that for us.
Did somebody steal it?
In a matter of speaking. He says, you seem like capable bunch. Is this accurate?
I flex. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, exactly. You see these little arms? Yeah.
We do good work.
We do good. Work. Yeah, work. That's what we call it. I'm gonna look at you, Gon. Look at the nook like. Yeah.
He says, many years ago, we had access to library, large library, filled with lots of ancient knowledge. Has been lost to us for several weeks now. Strange creatures emerging from it. And our vows here forbid us from violent action within our monastery grounds. We find ourselves at an impasse. We tried hiring local villagers to help, but that did not end so well.
I can't imagine.
They did. Nice people did not do good work. Perhaps we can make arrangement for, if you can retrieve book for us, we can begin to figure out what's happening here.
Now, is this one of those scenarios where they literally stole the one book that I need, or is there multiple things we have to retrieve?
No, just the nature of having to diagnose this is, I don't know we'll be able to cure, but we'll at least be able to diagnose. Right now we know nothing other than slightly what the affliction is. We know the symptom. We need to know the cause of the disease.
Okay. He puts his hand up and goes,
yes.
We'll do this. We're going to bill you for it.
Kill things.
Like, we're going to bill you for it. That's number one. Like, you're getting a bill. It's going to be a formality. Don't worry, because we need Dren alive. And I imagine Laura Lessa Fieldson likes being alive. So these two things meet up. So it's going to be the least amount of money that we can charge you, which is 1 gold piece. 2,
Or
Shut
a
up.
lantern.
Shut up.
Oh my god.
2, I want to know exactly what's in your library that needs killing. 3, I want access to that library after we're done. Whenever I want.
He says, well, okay. You want to, this is negotiation.
This is now a negotiation, yes.
Oh, excellent. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
He cracks his knuckles.
Yeah.
And he says,
and you see Hugon pull out like more paper.
he says, so, well, let's start with this. Do a, give me your first persuasion check.
Okay. Now,
See how
since we're doing negotiation and stuff, and I want certain things that he doesn't want to give me, are we going to be, is this intriguist mode?
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Was it slipping a note to big man? No, really, 1 gold or 2 lanterns.
Okay. So advantage roll on persuasion.
Okay.
Oof. Okay. Woof. Natural 20.
Wah, 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 wah. All right. Well, I don't think you need to take advantage now at that point. It doesn't get much better than that. Doesn't get any better than that. That is the first nat 20 of season 2.
Season 2.
That's true.
Awesome. The award.
Actually, I had the first nat 20 of season 1
Did you?
with the intimidation check.
Oh, that's right. You talked down an entire room of people with a chair.
With a chair, yes, that made music.
Such sweet, beautiful music.
Except now I'm not threatening to shove a stool piece by
No,
piece.
no. So the monk says, or our Alhabir says, well, you drive hard bargain, but I cannot say no to 1 gold piece.
Yeah, it's a cheap bargain.
That
We all
is
get what
that
we
is deal. That is deal at twice price. But I have to say, I would feel better if we could offer you more. 1 gold piece. I appreciate charity, but you are doing service. So we will give you access to any supplies that we have that you may need. And we can talk about getting you some kind of credit with villagers down in Valley Below in case there's something we do not have. Your friend wants a lantern?
I don't want her to have it, but
We can spare one of our lanterns. One of the broken ones. I
it's
think
very important that this lantern not be able to be dangerous. I know that that's
they are not
request.
dangerous now. What people do with once they have it, we have no control.
All right.
As we know, Dren has already weaponized 1 lantern. Why not another? He says, as far as what exactly is down there, unfortunately, we do not know. Creatures of darker shadow than what we have encountered before. We do not know. We just know that they come from down below. That is, I wish I had more information to give you at this point. Because to know your enemy is to is more than half battle, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
As far as access to library, if you can help us clean out library, if you can help us make this safe again, of course you will have access to any time you want. It is our goal to not hoard knowledge, but share knowledge. We would consider it a great honor to be able to share knowledge with you. It seems like you have great knowledge to share with us. And he looks over at your drawing and he says, you seem learned in certain ways. And he looks over at Thunuk and he says, and obviously you have very much to learn or very much to teach us. And Dren, he looks over at you and says, he says, and quite frankly, the fact that you were able to pull off that ritual and not be dead is quite impressive. So I'm hoping that we can learn much from you.
She's doing that. She's doing the finger guns, and she's got like curry coming out of them.
Yeah, just
Pretty much.
He says, so if that's acceptable to you, we can absolutely make deal.
Okay, and he like pulls out like not a Documancer like piece of
Well,
paper.
as you're doing that, you hear clank, 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 and you hear Buck comes rolling over, and he the little blue eyes blinking at you, blue eyes blinking at Al-Habir, and then like a little slot opens up, and you hear like a dot matrix printer. and the contract starts coming out of Buck's like little hidden port.
See that the top of the letterhead is like ASCII art
Yeah.
Acquisitions Incorporated.
It's
I
got
was
Inky
gonna
the
say,
sigil
can it-
and so.
Can it have the circle dot line,
Oh, yes.
from the really
Oh,
old
yeah.
ones that prints out that way? Yeah.
Oh,
Kinda,
absolutely.
like, tear and it's got a yellow carbon copy on the backside.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So,
this
like,
is the whole nine. Yeah.
Hugan, like, you have to be very careful with this dot matrix kind of technology. So he like plants a hand on Buck's face and then like gently just kind of tears like along the perforator, just rip and
And as you're doing, like the one eye kind of like blinks, kind of like shut a little bit.
he like looks to make sure that the contract in order, and then he's like, sign at the bottom.
And he reaches into his robes and he pulls out like a little, tiny little inkwell and quill and scratches his name on there. And he passes it back to you and he goes, "Of course, you must countersign."
Of course.
Signature.
So Hugon countersigns.
And then another port opens up on Buck, and he kind of like looks. He's looking expectantly at you with the new port open.
And so like Hugon folds the contract, keeps the yellow copy. Oh no, keeps the hands the yellow copy to
Al-Habir.
Al-Habir, gives him that, and then slides the white copy into the Buck, and then closes it.
And you hear the sound of an old fax machine scanning it and like connecting to send it, like the beep.
that horrible dial-up noise.
The sound of AOL.
Yeah.
As it connects, and he says, "Well, certainly. Once we have the book that we require, the information we require, we can absolutely proceed. It would be too late for you to go down tonight, so you would probably want to go in the morning. I do not think you'd want to travel. I mean, unless you want to go down there in the middle of the, completely up to you.
No, I'd rather not.
But me, I pragmatist. I don't think you should go down there. But please, once dinner is done, please feel free to look around." And he says, "Did I hear you say you were from Chandlewood?"
I mean, that's where we're based. He is specifically from Chandlewood, yes.
Yes.
And he says, "While you are here, you must go find the Stone Sitter twins. I think you will find them very interesting. But I think at this point, I have things I must attend to. Thank you very much for agreeing to this. We will certainly try to help you as best we can. If you have any supplies you need, if we cannot help you, we will certainly try to help you find them down in the village below. But at this point, unfortunately, I must leave to attend to some other duties.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, we will see each other in the morning."
Of course. We look forward to solving your problem.
And I yours. And he gets up and he gives a slight little bow and silently moves away, and everyone. So you can finish your dinner in relative peace. And is there anything you guys want to do over dinner before Dren's like?
Hugon wants to take stock after he's finished eating. He wants to take stock of their supplies, see what we can use.
Okay.
But
Hugon, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If other people have other things,
yes. Hugon or Dren and the Thunic. Anything that you guys would like to?
I'm just bowing down.
The name that he mentioned, that's a family name, obviously. Does that sound at all familiar to Thunuk?
History check. And Dren, you do a history check as well.
History? All right. What is my history? Where is it? There it is. Okay.
12.
8. I love my food.
You are engrossed in this curry. You're like a dog that found an unguarded bowl of popcorn.
Pretty
Wow.
much.
It's pretty aggressive.
Just
I
getting
can
in there.
hear this in my head too, and it's alarming.
I was really hungry.
Listen, when you eat, when you're hungry like that, you just
Dren's food eating method is probably like that baby raccoon who like sticks his face into the bowl of milk and like dog food and like eats as much as it can and then comes up for a breath, bites somebody who's too close, and then goes back into it.
Yeah, you definitely do not. You're going to lose a finger if you try to get that in there. You're just going to.
My food.
Right off.
You don't realize teeth are until they're clamping down on something.
Yeah.
Just
It's like
it's just
Get
this
off!
Dren hanging off.
Pissed off Chihuahua syndrome. I may be small.
Just clamp. So
Since I'm guessing 12
12.
doesn't do much.
you do know that there is a clan of dwarves known as the Stone Sitters that were from the Chandlewood region.
Oh, okay.
That's about all you know.
In that case, Thunuk is having eaten and having effectively been dismissed.
Mhm.
He's going to find a place to pray.
Hmm.
And it's either going to be the most nature-rific portion of the monastery or whatever portion of the monastery where the shadows make him feel like he's in the forest or somewhere in nature.
Okay, so you would probably wander a bit, right? Trying to get your feel for the place and
Yeah.
Again, to cite Marie Kondo, there's a part where she kind of walks around the house trying to find the best place to thank it or to greet the house. So same thing probably, right? So as you're walking around, you end up hearing the tinking of a chisel and hammer on stone. And as you get closer, as you're wandering around trying to find that right spot, and as you get close to where the source of that sound, you find that there is a hallway that has been very intricately and beautifully carved. But this hallway in particular has a very forest motif to it, in that that the way that these lanterns are hung and focused, this looks like real bark on the walls. And if you reach out and touch it, you see it's stone. It's very obviously stone when you touch it, but just the look of it, it has the texture and look of trees as you enter this hallway. And so you do feel this kind of ease fall over you. A calm fall over you as you enter, and you see it goes all the way up, and it looks like the branches reach up over top of you, and the way it's set right now is that it looks like the leaves are just starting to bud on the branches, so it feels very much like how you left the Chandlewood, like the right season and everything.
Sounds
and
like
this
spring.
Yeah, and this hallway goes down for probably about 50, 60 feet and starts to curve around, and that's where you hear the chiseling happening. But you do find that there's like little anses, like little alcoves that you would be able to sit down in and do your thing.
This is all very pretty, but the tinking is kind of curious. Like, is this being made right now? So Thunuk wants to go see what's happening.
So as you walk down the hallway, again, it's all continued to be like these beautiful, and every tree looks different. It's not like it is the same tree repeated. This is gorgeously in great, amazing detail. And as you round this corner, you see that there's a scaffolding erected, and there's two dwarves with one has or they both have hair that's the color of it looks like autumn leaves, like a combination of oranges and yellows.
Mm-hmm.
And they have it like they have the hair like pulled back into like a braid, and it's braided down their back to get it out of their face, and the beard is like kind of pulled and braided down the front there, and one's like almost laying on their back, like chiseling up on the ceiling and carving, and there's another one working a little bit higher up on the scaffold, kind of like in the middle of the wall, and they're just tapping away and you can see like this is still the work in progress. It's the work in progress. Like you can see this where they are. That's where the carving ends, and it's just flat stone, having been carved. You know, it was still a hallway. It was still a carved hallway before. But they're in the midst of carving this mural that you've been walking through.
Thunuk is going to say hello. Hi. Are you guys making this? This is very pretty. It reminds me of home.
It reminds us of home too. The one of them. The other one keeps working, but he doesn't stop working. The other one's up, but the one on the bottom says, "Yeah, it reminds us of home too."
Where are you from?
Well, we're from near the Firesteep Mountains up in by the Chundlewood. Are you familiar with the area?
I'm from the Chundlewood.
Really? Which part?
All of it.
Ah. Oh, yes, Fearbog. Yes, you guys kind of wander all over the place, right?
Yep.
Ah. Have you ever been up at the Fire Steep?
Has Thunuk been up by the Fire Steep?
You've probably been to the you've probably been up to like the foothills, but probably never really gone up into it, because that's really where, you know, there's also giants that live up there, and that's
unfriendly ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not happy giants.
Yeah, not the cool kind.
Not capybara giants.
No, I've been to the lower parts of it, but never been up.
Your kind doesn't really do well up there, do they? You're kind of like the wee ones next to the big guys, right?
Yeah, they don't like us very much also.
We don't like them very much either.
I don't blame you. They're mean. Rude.
Awful guests. They're terrible house guests.
You've had one as a guest?
One time, once, never again.
They don't even talk to us. They
What?
throw stuff at us.
What that bastard did to our outhouse, I can't even say.
Rah. Sounds gross.
It was literally, it was easier to move.
It is very easy to move.
So do you like the mural?
Yes, it's very pretty. It reminds me of the Chondlewood in spring.
Do you want to see something cool?
Always.
And the one hops down and he goes over to one of the lanterns and he starts making an adjustment with the dials.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does that, the crystals start to shift and the light starts to play differently. And you actually watch the buds, the way the shadows change on them, it catches the stone in a different way, and the leaves actually bloom from the buds. That's right, cool, isn't it?
It's very pretty.
Check this out. And he does it again, and then the leaves kind of wither, and you see as it changes, it looks like the shadow forms a pattern of leaves falling down, and then it looks like that the branches are bare. We got all 4 seasons here.
That's very neat.
How'd you find yourself here? It's a long way from home, even by Fearbog standards.
Well, we went for a walk this morning.
That's a hell of a walk.
Well, we went for a walk this morning, and we got here around lunch. maybe after. Here's a big guy. Very big.
Ah. Oh, you guys came in from the back door. That's Nook Look.
Yeah.
He's a right fright, isn't he, when you first see him? He's nice, though.
He was surprising.
Do not get into a drinking contest, Yeti. It does not end well.
He's a Yeti. Okay. I've never met a Yeti before.
Well, now you have. So, you should probably bring your friends by at some point if they want to see this as well. We'd like to meet them.
Okay. They're eating dinner right now. I got to cook. It was fun.
Well, hopefully we'll get some of the leftovers.
I made a lot. You should be able to get some.
Fearbolg. And is that a lot by human standards or a lot by Fearbolg standards?
I think a lot by anyone shorter than a Firbolg. Because like he understands that he does eat a lot by everyone else's standards, but also he understands that when he prepares, he's used to preparing for his proportions. So preparing for other people, other beings' proportions doesn't necessarily always come to mind as he gets to it. It's just like it's an afterthought.
So the one dwarf says, "Well, I'm guessing that you probably came here to pray."
Yeah, I was kind of looking for a place to pray. It's always nice to talk to the four.
And he says, "Well, may I suggest that alcove right over there?" And he points to one. It's kind of like it almost looks like the forest at sunset, with the way the light's playing in there.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So,
thank you. I'll do that. And he very very chipperly as chipper as a 10'6" being can walks over to this alcove.
Okay. So while you're doing that, Hugon, you said you were just going to kind of like do a quick inventory.
Yeah, see what we can utilize here from this in our journey against the unknown.
And Dren, what was you? So you finished up chowing down, Dren. What was your plan for the evening?
Well, if he's already considering maybe like giving me a lantern for doing this job, I'd probably like go back to my room and work on Rozzy a little bit, make sure he's a little bit more prepped for the cold.
So you're in there tinkering and you're like finding little bits of ice and snow like jammed into his,
give him some antifreeze or something.
Which is basically just booze.
Yeah.
Grain alcohol.
Just grain alcohol. Yeah.
Does Hugon know you're wasting it that way?
Not fortunately, no.
He's not in my room unless he's
well, I have this vision now that Rozzy actually winterizes by drinking it, by like a duck drinking.
Yeah, I don't imagine that he has like a dipstick or anything, so he probably would just drink it.
You made Rozzy without a dipstick?
Pretty much.
Put a bowl of grain alcohol in front of him, and it's like a bird like cleaning him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what he does with the oil.
The sparrow thing.
Yeah, it's what he does with the oil when he has to like get all up, as he just sits in a bath of oil. But
so Hugon, as you're preparing to settle in for the night, you go to walk into your room, and you see Laura Liss is kind of standing, but closer to Dren's room, by her door, as you walk by, to settle in for the night. And she says, "You just can't give it up that I drank you under the table."
Challenging me? Because we can make that work.
Honey, you're not a challenge.
Well, don't get too crazy. You're coming with us tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go say goodnight to Dren, and as she like walks past you, she smacks you on the ass. and then walks into Dren's room.
Does he come after?
Can I try to get her in an armbar?
You can try.
Just like get a hold of the wrist and be
That
like,
would be
knew you were gonna do that.
let's see, that would be an athletics check.
Okay, all right.
Hang on, let me pull up my NPCs here.
I mean, I'm going after somebody with essentially rogue levels, so this is gonna go poorly.
Okay.
I have a 23.
No.
No.
Mm-mm. No, she.
It's
I
more
feel
like
like
a smack, and he like tries to grab it, and he's like, I
not
felt
quite
like-
fast enough.
just not quite.
Not quite
little-
fast enough. But your hand does brush hers as it goes by.
Yeah.
So, Laura Lissa sits.
God, if her brother sees that, fuck, we're gonna have problems.
So, Dren, Laura Lissa kind of like lets herself into your room, closes the door behind you, and she sees you like working on Rozzy there, and she doesn't like step very far in. She kind of closes the door, and then she like sits down on the floor with her back against the door, and she's like hugging her knees, and she's like, "What you doing?"
Fixing Rozzy. Well, helping.
She said, "God, I don't know why I'm telling you this. Are you scared?"
Like,
of like
eh?
this, like what happened with the ritual and everything?
Nah. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it probably will be.
I'm gonna hear that, and then it's gonna be like that slow creak of the chair turning, like not creepy at all.
Mhm.
You scared?
No, I'm not scared.
Liar.
And
Bullshit.
that is where we will end our game
Oh,
this evening.
Oh,
So,
I got bad touched.
so for the folks who might still be watching us, which I think might only be us at the moment, but guys, thank you very much for tuning in. For the folks who watch us on YouTube and on the VODs and catch up with our podcast, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day and allowing us to tell stories to you. We are, if you do like what we do, please subscribe to us on Twitch. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also on Patreon now. So if you're interested in what we do and like to see us continue doing this, you can actually back us for or help support us through Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And that's basically just to help us keep the lights on. That's all we're trying to do. Guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. Players,
It was good.
it was
Oof.
Good.
It
We're
feels like
back
back into it.
playing.
takes a second to get back into it, but I'm really glad we're back here. So guys, that was the first episode of season 1. I am looking forward to this season with you, with everyone here. This is gonna be awesome,
It's gonna be good, or it's gonna be terrible, and we're all gonna die tomorrow.
but it'll be awesome
But
the
it'll
way
be-
it happens.
I got to sled before we died. I'm happy.
And we had cooking with Thunuk, which is going to be just.
Yes.
This is Eat, Drink, Roll, and we did all of those things.
I think
We
I'm
did
gonna have to
all.
start looking up if there's these recipes that Thunuk is coming up with do exist, and if they don't, maybe I'd kind of figure them out.
Gotta make them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Are we going to be sticking around for table talk, or is that
I
it?
have to go. You guys can.
Okay. So we'll probably be ending the program, but we will catch up with you guys. Same bat time, same bat channel next week, 4 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/EatDrinkRoll. Everyone have a fantastic week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.